Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep. Sure can.
How can you see me? Cool. Well, people are kind of logging on. How's everyone doing?
Kiara and I got a citation today, so we got to schedule a little city inspector walkthrough and figure out
What
how
was
we're
your
going to get around our
what was your
issues.
citation for? What'd you
What?
do? What'd you do?
We didn't pull permits on this one because we there's a huge unpermitted addition, and permitting that in San Diego is quite difficult. So there was no way to pull permits without having to permit that and build in a really long timeline. So we decided to go unpermitted, but we got a citation, so we're gonna have to figure it out.
How this happens, guys. Um,
Okay.
what did they have to say? This is a good
Well,
little
so he
warm
hasn't
up.
entered the property.
This is a good
So
little warm up.
we're going to schedule his walkthrough. So right now it's just a citation that says there was work happening on weekends and that it looks like there might be some unpermitted square footage, and that's about it.
Okay, so they're not actually hitting you and that's how you bought it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I would definitely, because you guys didn't move a lot of walls around in the house, right?
No, we just took out two walls for the kitchen, two small walls.
And so, and the house wasn't in terrible shape when you bought it, if I remember correctly.
No, it wasn't. Just the extension was in really like weird shape. Like you could clearly tell it was a bad unpermitted extension, but it was not in
Wow.
bad shape.
So I would say in that scenario, you guys, I always like to bring the listing photos with me and just have them with me too when you bought it, because you can kind of be like, hey, look, it's kind of a cosmetic update. And, just be super straightforward with you guys at some point you're gonna get in trouble with the inspector. The best thing to do is not hide and just address it immediately. And just, you were doing a cosmetic renovation, not doing moving much around. The previous owners had updated things, and you know, you didn't really think you needed it. You didn't know.
Interesting, because our lender used to be a flipper. He's done lots of flips.
Yeah.
And his strategy was quite different. He said you're going to in plan reviews for months with San Diego. So ideally, you kind of, because we've got everything almost closed up in terms of like the walls are all closed up. We just need to put outlet covers on and some light switch covers, and there's some cans going in.
Okay.
But he's kind of like, go in and play dumb. Like,
No, no, definitely play dumb. Well, because like you just didn't know. Are you just saying, hey, this is kind of the way we bought it type thing?
right. Like
Uh,
we just put it was like a replace, pull and replace, not like we didn't rewire the necessarily a bunch of the electrical. We didn't do anything to this extension. It kind of looked like this.
Yeah, I don't disagree with him on
Okay.
that.
Okay.
It kind of depends on the city and the inspector as well. Um, and so
Yeah, and then his suggestion on the back end. This is where I'd love to get your input. He said, if you do get put in plan review, his recommendation was to go ahead and finish the work and list, like submit for all the permits. Go ahead and list, and on the back end, say, we've submitted everything. It's all in with the city. All you're gonna have to do is just ring the inspector whenever they're ready and schedule that, and we'll do a holdback for that for your inspections.
okay, yeah, just but never hide, guys. You just gotta kind of dress it right on the head. You're just gonna have to. Um, it's not fun, but it does happen for sure.
Yeah. So
Uh,
so with the listing photos, do you really recommend walking through with we're trying to avoid a plan review. So I want to say ideally we didn't move any walls. All our photos are
no,
clean.
then don't do that route either. I just sometimes if it's very clear in the listing photos that I would say, is it clear that you open up a lot of things?
From the listing photos,
Yeah.
it would definitely be clear that we opened up the kitchen if he's got the listing photos. Everything else, no. The kitchen, yes.
Okay. I think your guy might be giving you the right advice on that one then.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna keep fingers crossed. Let's
Yeah,
see.
just be super polite. Make sure the job site's really clean too when he
Yeah.
shows up. So just you guys, inspectors hate dirty job sites.
I mean, to me, it's appeared really clean, but like, is there anything in particular? Like,
Uh,
there's no trash anywhere. Yeah, it's like
yeah,
all our
just make sure it's clean. Like I'd have my electricians and stuff just kind of run through it, make sure there's nothing weird. Like just you don't want like little. because guys always make mistakes. Um, and so you just don't want a bunch of weird little things because then they're going to start nitpicking it. So just make sure it's kind of buttoned up a little bit, like there's no weird wiring going on or plumbing going on or just kind of anything jerry-rigged going on.
Yeah,
But
for sure. So our contractor asked us to buy him a couple of days on the inspection, on him walking through. So we're going to try to do that, and then they're going to button everything up so that everything's closed off, and we can try to just play dumb as much as possible.
uh, okay. Um, that's probably the best thing you can do, and just be very, very kind. Kill them with kindness. That is the key, because especially if you get like a God complex inspector.
I tried that today for sure. So, and I'm hoping I made some goodwill with him about chatting about Vancouver recommendations because he wants to travel there. So, keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah,
He
um,
did. He did mention he used to be a contractor himself, and he said he was. I mean, he was quite nice. He was like, listen, I'm not even going to tell you to stop working, but just kind of slow your roll because some of the stuff you're going to probably have to pull out again to re-permit. But you don't even need to stop working. It's fine. I'm gonna go easy on you. I'm one of the nice ones. I'm hoping he's being honest.
yeah. You'll be okay. Yeah, it happens to us all, trust me. I've been in numerous hot waters with the city, especially over 20 years. Uh, yeah. Uh, all right. Well, with that, we will get to those questions later, guys. But we're gonna jump right into, looks like a lot of people have logged on, so I'm gonna get going. Um, and we're gonna cover tonight because the reason I wanted to talk about this tonight, and then we will be opening up for questions, is I've heard a lot from our group where people seem to be having issues with just finding the right broker, which is kind of blowing my mind a little bit. And so I just want to have a general conversation about setting the expectations. One thing about real estate brokers, guys, is they're salespeople. And salespeople, there's a variety of salespeople in any industry that you work in, whether people, like cars. I buy my cars for the same guy almost every time. I'd say 85% of my cars. The reason I do it because he's professional, he follows up, he gives me what I want, and he gives me honest feedback. That's how he earns my business. And I probably bought 12 cars from this guy over 15 years. Mortgage professionals, same thing. I talk to a lot of different mortgage companies, mortgage professionals. There's hundreds of them out there, and I work with one. And I refer one out to my clients, not because I get paid, not because I get referral fees, not because I get marketing, because I just know they do really, really good business and they will follow up and take care of my client. Um, And so our job as an investor is to go build that team around us because the broker is one of the most important pieces in our whole flipping team or even just finding any sort of investments because not only are they out there looking for investments for us, they're helping us with our underwriting and the strategy, and they're involved with these deals a lot of times from A to Z, right? From the purchase all the way to the close. And so the broker is a partner in this deal. They're not just someone selling you something. There will be plenty of brokers out there that will sell you a deal and then they're done with it, right? And that's okay too. We can find those people. But the core member that we're trying to build, right? And I have this on my team. I have people that look at deals, they do the underwriting, they send me over opportunities, and then I can kind of evaluate them from there. But they do a lot of extra work for me so I can free up time, right? The goal of the broker is to help you free up time so you can focus on building your flip business. I work with tons of different brokers buying deals. And there are people that source me deals. I give them list backs when they want them, or sometimes a lot of times they just want to be bought out. But I always have that core broker that no matter what, with anything that I'm looking at, I can send them over, have them look at underwriting, have them look at the deal. Because even if I'm buying it elsewhere, they will still be listing it down the road. And so that's what we want is that person that's our go-to. That's probably going to do at least 50% of your business. And so we're going to talk about tonight, just a little mini lesson, and then I'm going to open it up for questions because I want you guys, especially if you're having problems getting brokers to respond to you, I want you to kind of role play with me a little bit. I want to know how you're talking to them, and I'm going to help you tweak that pitch because it could be just a way that we are communicating, or also who we're calling. How are we finding the people? Because there is what thousands of real estate brokers out there. And I think the last stat I heard is like 95% of them did not sell a house this year. So you got to find that 5% that are actually doing business. And then we got to narrow that down to the 1% that actually does what we do, which is look at investments, underwrite them, value improvement, and they can help you form that business, you know. And so again, this broker is really, really important because not only are they going to help you find deals, but they're also going to help you with underwriting, looking at things, and again, freeing up time. And the more time you have, the more time you can focus on your business, get better contractors, get better debt, get better resources, network with deal finders. Those are the things that are really going to move the needle. And so the broker you have to have that dependable person that can help you underwrite. Like you guys, when I'm watching people send me in comps off Zillow and they're guessing off Zillow, that's a hard way to underwrite. And so you really want that professional that knows that market, they can really, really understand. So one thing I want to start with is remember, you guys, you are the client. The broker is not the client. And if any broker ever teaches you or kind of treats you of a way like, okay, I'll get you a deal. They're almost like interviewing you and they're like, well, I want to see if you're worth my time. That is not who we want to work with. Any broker I work with or person I work with, they are hard workers. They're getting after it. And that's why we vibe well together. And you guys, this business isn't for people that are passive, right? Like a broker that's really passive in what they do, how are they going to go get you the best deal? Because if it's the best deal, everyone's going to chase it and they got to be aggressive. And so we don't want that kind of person for this specific type of property. You know, there is great, great brokers out there that know how to sell multi-million dollar houses. They know how to do open houses, can help you with the concierge service, help you with the move. That's not a broker like me. I'm an investment broker. I crunch numbers and look at deals and give strategies. I'm not someone that goes out and shows houses all day. That is not what I do. And so we got to find the right investment broker in there. But remember, you're the client. And if anyone treats you any differently, move on to the next person. That is not who we want. And so not every broker is the same. When I'm out, you guys, I do a lot of investments. I sell a lot of investments. I know how to underwrite. I know how to perform. I know how to look at deals and run the analytics, run rents, run flips. But when there's a niche, it is in our best interest to hire a niche broker. So, for example, we do multifamily, we do commercial. I can underwrite it. I know how to analyze it. When we go out and look at commercial properties, I do not represent myself because I know how to look at it. I can underwrite it, but I'm not the best at this. We have a commercial broker that we work with and we've worked with for 15 years. And he gives us all the underwriting, all the analysis. He knows how to drum up business. And the reason I hired them, even though I could save myself a commission as being a broker, is because I need the service. I don't need to save on the commissions. The service is what gives me the best deal. And so, depending on what you're looking for, you want to find out what is their specialty. You can have numerous brokers. You could have a fix and flip broker. You could have a short-term rental broker that maybe they own some short-term rentals and they're doing the deal and they know how to look at it and they know how to perform it. When people reach out to me about short-term rental, I'm always like, hey, I can run the rents. I'm going to run them off Airbnb. I'm going to run the daily rates and I can underwrite this for you. But I'm not the best at it. I don't own a lot of Airbnbs. I don't do a lot of Airbnbs. And so it's in your best interest to work with the specialist. And so build that bench out, fix and flip brokers, short-term rentals, multifamily, commercial. Those are all different brokers. And, we do know multifamily a lot. We sell a lot. We own a lot. And so we sell both, but you want to find that specialist. Real estate investing is a niche business. You have to hire the right one. This is not, you guys, we don't want to go hire our friend. We don't want to hire the person giving the best discount because if you're going for the discount broker, then you better be really good at underwriting and finding your own deals because you're really just using them to dispo and save the money. But part of the savings is that you have to do a lot more work. And so depending on how many deals that you're doing or what's your commitment, do you have a full-time job? You want to hire the person that can free up time and the time will actually make you more money, not chase the discount. Now, if you're doing this full time and you're doing one deal at a time, there's nothing wrong with that. and you want to go for the discount broker, that's a different strategy in itself, but you are going to be doing more and you have to become a Swiss Army knife of underwriting these deals because the broker's not going to do it for a discount, or the person that's going to take it for a discount is not going to give you the best feedback. A broker understands your business and will help you excel, not discounts. You need to find a broker that speaks your language. As a client comes in for us, or if I'm going meeting with a broker, like right now, you guys, I'm out there meeting with Arizona brokers on the regular. I do not have to network there. I'm out meeting new people. I get lots of referrals from people to go meet with these brokers. I needed them to understand what I'm doing as I'm trying to create a second business in Arizona. And, the first thing that I want to know is, do they invest themselves? And maybe they don't, but if they do, that is a huge check mark for me because they understand the same things. If I have a broker that has ever flipped a house before, they're going to understand my same pains and they're going to understand the costs that are not inside the pro forma half the time. So find someone that's active in the space. How many deals have they done? Are they working with investors now? Those are all important questions because if they're currently doing deals with investors, they understand the process a lot better. How we secure these things, how we fund these things, if they're listing the properties, what happens if they're not selling, what that does to the performance. And the more they understand your business, the more the better deals that they're going to send. Make them earn your business. I have met with probably 35, 40 brokers in Arizona, or at least had phone calls. I tell them my business. I say, hey, this is what I need from you, and we'll go over that in a second. And if we want to do business together, if you want to make a commission, I need you to do this for me. And if you can't do this for me, that's okay. We're not at the right fit. Because as I'm working in 2 states, I don't have time to dig as deep as I can into that property because I don't know the market as well. It's going to take me a lot longer to research it. I need them to help me with that. And if they can't help me with that, I don't need them to just send me listings. Be direct. We're trying to build partnerships. The best way to build a partnership is to be direct. What do you need? And so everybody on the call tonight, when we're wrapping up with this call, I want you to write down, what do you need out of your broker to make you better? Whether it's deal flow, is it underwriting, is it resources? Everyone's got their own gaps in their own businesses. And I want you guys to write this down and write it as priority because maybe you're really good at underwriting. You have underwriting tools, you know how to dig for deals, you're good at networking to bring in more deals. But, oh, cool, thank you. Hey, look, guys, I got a closing right here. That's always good news. I got closing docs. Look at that. Oh, I got a little distracted. But you guys, we be direct, right? I can tell you any partnership that I've ever built, if I haven't been direct what I needed, it doesn't go well. And so you can be direct with this is what I need. And based on what your needs are, that's the broker that we're going to lean most into. Like if you're good at underwriting, you're good at looking at a deal, you're good at deal flow, but you don't have that many contractors. There's brokers out there that are licensed and bonded contractors. They have access to resources or they know general contractors. That's the broker that we really want to lean into. If you are a contractor and you have that down, then you want to find the guy finding you the most amount of deal flow. And those could be 2 different brokers right there. The contractor broker might be guys doing 2 to 3 deals at a time, and that's what they do, low volume. The guys finding the most amount of deals might not have that many contractors, but they have a lot of deal flow. And so I want you guys all to audit this and then post this in the Facebook group. And then again, don't focus on discounts, focus on the partnership, you guys. But my broker team across the board, I always pay 3% and 3% on the buy and the sell. The reason I do that is I want them to earn the business and I want them to work harder so I can focus on things that create more margin. Um, Let me kind of put it this way too, and this is why I'm always against discounts. If you're hiring the right broker on your team, I don't need to know if they're going to do a discount. But if they're a partner of mine and the deal's going wrong for whatever reason, like for example, if I sell a client a deal and the market shifts and there's something going on, let's say rates shot up really high and the market came down really quick. The first thing we did as brokers was help come to the table, and our clients really didn't even have to ask us for a discount. We offered discounts because they're long-term partners of ours. So if you're building a partner, you'll get the discount when you need it. But if they're helping you build a good business, then reward them, right? That's how you keep your partners happy. It's got to be fair. So, questions to ask these brokers, you guys, as you're interviewing them. Your broker's your partner, not someone you hire. Questions that do you want to ask? Have you worked with investors before? As you're talking to these brokers, the first thing I do, hey, have you worked with investors before? What kind of deals have you done? And maybe they just started doing a couple and they only have a couple. That's fine. I don't need them to sell a million houses. I just want to know that they have that experience. Then I want to know, well, hey, what's the addresses of the properties that they sold in the last 12 months? If they send me 6, I can look into what they were sold for. I can run some prelim comps on it and go, okay, was it a good deal or not? I can also see, have they been on market forever? Did it take forever to sell them? Did they buy it for 300 and they're listed for 499 and end up selling for 425? These, getting those addresses from the deals that they've done, that shows you track record and it shows, what they're doing. And even if a broker sent me 12 addresses and 5 of them went bad, I'm going to call that broker and say, hey, look, I appreciate you sending me all that information. Can I ask you about these 5 deals? And if they can logically explain what happened on that deal, what didn't happen, that doesn't mean I'm not going to work with them. I just want to know that they can explain it. So get the addresses out of them. What deals have you just done? Why did you think it was a good deal? I would love to work with you more. Do they have contractor recommendations? Hey, if I work with you, how I picked my broker in Newport Beach. I met with a lot of brokers in Newport Beach, and I will say SoCal can be a tough place to get a good broker because they are money motivated and they are out there to sell and they want to make a commission. The reason I went with the broker was partially because he would give me honest feedback on deals. Even if I'd send it to him, he'd be like, I don't think this is a deal for A, B, and C, but if you want to go look at it, let's go look at it. The other reason is he had renovated a few houses in his career. He had owned some multifamily. He had probably done a couple flips. He had renovated 2 of his own, and he knew a bunch of contractors and resources. And one of the questions that he asked me was, hey, who do you need? And let me see if I can track them down for you. So he referred me a couple general contractors. He referred me a couple pool guys. He's like, hey, try this roofer out. And so he was asking me the questions like, what can I do to help? And that really locked in that broker for me. And that broker, we went and probably looked at 10 houses over a year period, didn't buy any of them. And then randomly a listing came up online that I saw was a good deal, and I sent it to him. And I had him write it up for me because I wanted him to earn the commission for Show Me Houses, but also he was giving me all these resources. And the fact that he was more concerned about the business, not just selling me a house, is why I locked him in. He is not the biggest broker in town. He's more of a luxury broker than an investment specialist, but he went out of his way to, I think that out of being a luxury broker, he knew he had to give a concierge experience, and that's what I needed, right? As investors, we need that concierge investment service to do well. And then he just listed and sold the property for me. Now we're buying another deal. This second deal, I did not have him write it up because it was a property I knew. I knew the broker well. The broker wrote it up for me on the listing, but I was able to send him that property, say, hey, this is the one I'm going to buy. You're going to list it for me. Give me your honest feedback on the value. He ran and he gave me an honest value on it, even though he wasn't writing it up. The reason he's doing it is now we are partners. He's going to be listing the property. He's involved in it. That's a big listing for him. And so by building those relationships, you get a lot out of it. Do they have any hard money recommendations? If the brokers don't have any referrals to contractors or resources or have any hard money recommendations, they're probably not your broker because that means they haven't done a lot of deals in that space. I mean, at worst case, if they have one investor client, they would still know the hard money lender that they use when they close the deals. And so these are questions that you want to ask, like, how many deals have you done? What's your resources? Who do you know? Because if they don't know anybody, it's probably not, that doesn't mean they're a bad broker, they're a bad person. They're just probably not the person for you. So tips for finding good brokers, because again, there's a lot of them out there, guys. The first thing is, I talk a lot about in Project Flip and all of ours, getting a good title rep. You guys, if we find that investment-minded title rep, and you do that by looking at flip properties online, see who they have title and escrow open with. Look at builders online. Who do they have title and escrow open with? That's going to give you this consistent title rep that typically works with investors and in builders, excuse me. That's the person you want. I can guarantee you they know who the brokers are that are selling the most amount of flips. That is their whole business, is to track those people and try to earn their business. A hard money lender. And you guys, one other thing about title rep is many of these brokers that they're looking at, they might not even do business with, but they've seen them doing business and they're trying to earn their business. So it's in the title rep's best interest to be able to call up that broker and say, hey, look, we haven't done business before. I'd like to earn your business. If I bring you some clients, will you do title and escrow with me? Again, it's in their interest, is in your interest. So they're great, great resources. Your hard money lenders, they are people that fund fix and flip deals. Many brokers, they, like hard money lenders work with the same brokers on the regular. They usually have the same investor clients. They're referring people in. As you're getting pre-qualified with your lender, say, hey, what's your top 3 brokers that you work with in my area? How many deals are they doing? Who's the brokers doing the most amount of deals with you? Those are good people to reach out to, right? They're doing deals. People are borrowing. They understand it, and they are actively going. Brokers who sell properties, sell flip properties. Sorry, I'm letting people in at the same time. Or that have sellers as LLCs. If you contact your title rep, you can ask them for a list of brokers that sell the most amount of single family homes as LLCs as owners. The ones that are selling the most with LLCs typically work with investors on the regular. Ask your network, RE, your meetup groups. Who are people working with? Who are the brokers that investors love working with? Like in Seattle, there's a bunch of investment brokers. There's a few bigger shops, and luckily, a lot of our clients come from word of mouth. Clients telling clients that we do good business. And so ask your network. There's Bigger Pockets, Agent Finder. You can go on there. Those are people that are on the podcast, listening to the podcast. They're active in the community. Typically, they got um, investment minded business. Brokers who are contractors. Great resources, guys. I know a lot of different brokers that are actually general contractors themselves, and that's their business. They sell the property, they renovate the property, and they sell it. They get to kind of make money on one deal. And so they're great people to work with because they're not doing 100 deals. They're really focused on their clients all the way through. And then another way, you guys, to kind of find listing brokers, and you guys, this is how I found the one in Newport Beach. I called them on a sign. But, brokers, you guys, one of the best ways you can build a relationship with a broker is to pay them. And so if I find a listing on my own, typically I'm calling the listing broker direct and having them show me through it. If no broker's sending me any underwriting, if they're not sending me the deal, any analysis, I don't need them to write it up for me. And so, calling those listing brokers direct, good example, Newport Beach. So I called the listing broker direct. I had known them over the years a little bit. I had never done business with them, didn't really entertain doing business with them either. But I called them directly, introduced who I was, and say, hey, look, I'm always buying. Can you write this up for me? They're writing it up. The one thing about this listing broker that sold the house, now I wouldn't have them do the investment side, but they can do the buying side for me. And the reason they can do the buying side is they are some of the most seasoned brokers in one specific neighborhood. They've lived in the neighborhood for over 50 years. They know all the older sellers. They're constantly the ones selling the homes that are dated and as fixers because that's their network. That broker may be an acquisition broker for me, but they're not going to be a listing broker for me. I would say their listing game isn't quite what I want. They don't have construction resources. They don't have any kind of it's just not really what they do. But they would be an acquisition broker for me because they have constant deal flow and they were very easy to communicate with and get the deal done. So acquisition broker requirements, you guys, if I'm going to hire a broker that's going to go out and find deals for me and represent me to purchase a property, I have a list of requirements if they want to earn my business, right? Because you guys, as investors, we are multiple repeat buyers. We're the best type of client, in my opinion. But you don't just get the client because you met them and you say, I'm a broker, you're an investor, let's just do business together. That's not what we're doing here. For a broker, to earn my business, they have to send me things in a certain way or I'm not looking at it. I don't need them to put me up on a drip email. And I'm very clear about that. I say, hey, don't just put me on a spam drip email. I don't want that. If someone's going to send me a listing or a deal, they need to send me a link to the listing going, hey, I think this is a good buy. And here's why. The comps for this property is worth this once you renovate it and you do these things. If the broker can't send me a deal with the subject, the comps, and bullet points of what I need to do, and they don't need to tell me the design, they don't need to tell me the paint colors, but they need to say, hey, you need to add a bedroom or you need to create a primary suite. You got to open up the kitchen because they do know what's sellable. That's telling me that they can direct it and they're giving me good analysis. Because if I'm getting the property that way, I can look at it, I can look at what the fix up is, fix up comps are, and then I can go through the bullet points for the scope of work and go, okay, this is what I need to do. Roughly, my construction calculator is telling me it's going to be about this much in work based on their recommendations. Here's my offer at that price. But if they're not doing that, I don't need them. I don't need them to send me. I can look on Zillow myself, and and guess what? I can call the listing broker myself and work the deal directly and probably get a better deal that way. And so if they're not doing this for me, they're not adding value. I don't really need them on my team. And so when brokers send me stuff, I meet them because I would say in Arizona, you guys have met with, 30 to 40 people. I would say out of the 30 to 40, and you guys, I'm pretty clear on how I communicate. I would say only 3 have done it this way. The others did put me on drips, even though I asked them not to. And they go, hey, did you see this one? That's not what I want. I just don't respond to them at that point. Or I'll call them back and say, hey, look, I really do need you to send it to me this way. If you can do that, we can do. If not, I'm probably going to disconnect from your auto searches. Don't let them put you on drip campaigns, guys. That is not what we want. You can do that yourself. If that's what they're doing, then they should either give you back some of their commission or just exit off, put yourself in your own drip on Zillow, and then call the listing brokers direct. You'll get a better deal. And always be clear in your expectations. What do you need to run your business? Don't don't ask them about discounts. Don't ask them about what they charge. It doesn't matter. What you need is a good deal and you need help with the underwriting so you can streamline it. Be clear, bullet point out your expectations of what you want when you need this broker to send you deals for you. If you don't have that clearly written out, you're not going to be able to articulate it correctly. Write it out, send it to brokers you're talking to. Hey, great talking to you. We had a great conversation. I'm excited to build this partnership with you. But I just want to recap. When you send me a deal, I won't look at it unless it's in this format. I really appreciate it. I look forward to doing a lot of deals with you. That's a completely reasonable thing to ask. So that's my requirements. I'm a little bit more basic in what I need because, I like to geek out on my own. But they still have to send it this way. And here's the other thing is too, if they can't follow that instruction, how are they really going to follow instructions for the rest of the process? So listing broker requirements. I do not give out list backs to everyone. I will buy out people of list backs if they're really just, I don't want to just have a guy put or gal put a name in the sign in the yard. I happily will give out list backs. I do it all the time. But if people just want to put a sign and focus on getting deals done, that's totally fine. We'll kind of buy them out of the list back and we move on. And then they can focus on finding us that good deal. But listing broker requirements, and you guys, when we're out interviewing these brokers, I'm trying to find that dependable broker so they can do both. They can analyze things, they can write things up for me, but they're also going to handle my listings. My listing broker, if they're going to be listing one of my houses, they have to at least give me input on design and layout for sellability. I don't need them to tell me how much it costs. I don't need to tell me what walls are structural. I don't need to, but they need to give me some feedback because they're selling the property. What do they feel like as a broker, as a professional? What will make the house feel the best that will attract the most amount of buyers? And that will sell it for what the value is that they're telling me. Because if broker's telling me that it's worth this, then that means they've looked at it and they can go, this is what you need to do to get it to this price, right? Because comps change, right? Values change. And if they can't articulate that, it makes me very uncomfortable. Because how are they going to articulate that to the next buyer why they're paying a premium? Or how can they underwrite things correctly if they can't say what's sellable? And again, they don't need to know everything. Like our team, I can look at things like, hey, that's a low bearing wall. This is, this is structural. This is not. This is permitting. You don't need that. You just need someone that can give you directive and go, this is what you need to do to accomplish this new value. Our listing brokers, they have to put me on a monthly CMA to update the market. As we're working on projects, markets go up, they go down, they change. As an investor, I have to be tied into the market at all times in case I want to switch my plan up. If I'm renovating a house and I was doing a 3-bed, 2-bath, and maybe I wasn't adding a bathroom in the basement, and I'm trying to target a price of $1 million, and all of a sudden there's a new sale right by me, and it is for $1.1 million. And it's because the person put a bedroom and a bathroom in the basement and they made it a 4-3 and a little bit more livable, or they added a wet bar in there because they can rent it out. I need to know this, and I want the broker to call me and say, hey, look, I just saw this new comp. It's great because it's high. By the way, they had these other amenities. And if you add these amenities, you might be able to sell it for more. That bathroom and bedroom, if I'm in the middle of framing and plumbing and I know this information, I might be able to spend $10,000, $15,000 more in the middle of the project, change the plan, and sell it for 100 grand more. And so the broker needs to keep me updated, right? That's their job. What is your house going to sell for? If a broker goes out and meets a listing appointment and I go sit down and say I meet with Michael and I go, hey, Michael, here's who I am. Here's my fancy presentation. This is all my marketing methods, what listing brokers do when they're selling to homeowner. I'm going to say, hey, I think your house today, if we put it up for sale, is worth 500,000. And Michael might be like, okay, cool. Well, I really enjoyed meeting you. Let me think about it. I don't know if I'm going to sell or not. I'm going to meet with some other brokers. And again, I'm just not sure about selling. The best thing I can do as a broker to follow up with Michael on to give him good advice and is going to get him the biggest impact and is going to leave a best impression is in a month, if there's a new comp at 525, is reaching back out to Michael and saying, hey, look, I know we met. It was great meeting you. Have you made any decisions on selling? I got good news for you. This new comp is in your area. It's very similar to your house. If you did A, B, and C, I think we can sell it for $25,000 more. That's going to leave a good impression for Michael if he meets with 3 brokers who follows up, not just to go, hey, can I have your business? But here, I'm providing you with more value. And that's why we want the brokers to give us that CMA, because the more they understand the market, the more they can sell it, but also give me directive so I can focus on what I'm doing. And that's controlling my cost on my job site. If I'm sitting there in the weeds running CMAs all day and looking at things, I'm not going to be able to go, well, maybe I need to meet on site and figure out how I can save 5 grand on this issue. And so make them do their jobs. Um, Listing. So, throughout the process, we would just want their initial feedback and then updating, hey, should we add or subtract anything that we're doing on the site throughout the construction project? That's all we really need them to do. I mean, our team at Heat and Dainard is a lot different. They'll walk it with our clients once a week. They will give design input. That's kind of like your listing broker on steroids. Not everyone operates that way, guys, but that's the way I've done it for 20 years. So that's the way we do it. That's a little bit more unique, but you can find those brokers. But you don't need that to run your business. Listing. If someone wants to list one of my homes, I do have a few requirements. The first thing is they need to get my staging quotes. Like they're getting me numerous staging quotes from people that they feel are going to present the house in the best way so they can sell it for top dollar. Most listing brokers that work with investors, like if you work with our brokerage, we get discounts to our clients on their staging. Like staging that maybe would cost 4,000 for a homeowner costs our clients 28 to 3 grand. And we negotiate that on volume for our clients' behalf. I want them to handle the whole prep throughout the process. They need to do the pre-inspection. Line up a pre-inspector that they know they can go through the house and check it out to make sure our guys didn't miss anything. I also want my broker, they have to blue tape it. Hey, whatever you think looks bad about this house that you think might affect the buyer's impression, I don't need them to check the furnace. I don't need to check the hot water tank. I don't need to check the water. But if there's something on presentation wise, a pre-inspection might not catch it. Like if the texture looks bad, if the paint looks bad, inspector might not call that. But the listing broker will say, this is going to affect my impression. So they go out to the property, they order the pre-inspection, and then they blue tape it too, because they might be seeing something differently than I would see or the project manager as far as sellability goes. And so we want that blue tape and last minute advice. Every week that this house is on market, we require our listing brokers to call every broker and text them, not just send an email. I would say 90% of brokers out there, as people scan into their house, they're going to send out an auto email. An auto email is just like, what do you think of the house, right? I want my brokers picking up the phone and talking to them and getting a read on who these people are. Where they always, you guys, most of the deals that are done through communicating, not pushing paper. And so our requirement for our team or any broker that lists my house is they have to call them. And I want them to call them and text them within an hour of them leaving that showing. They get a notification on their phone that someone just showed it. How did the showing go? What does your clients think? What's holding them back for an offer? Is it price? Is it the renovation? Is it just this isn't the right house for them? Because I need to know those objections that will get me to a sale. And the reason we want them calling is because you never know. Like someone might say, oh yeah, they liked it, but they're still out looking, it's a little bit out their price range. Well, what's your price range? If they can get it 25 grand off, they would write it up. But it's a hot, like a lot of brokers assume things too, like, no seller's gonna take that. I might be like, yeah, do the deal. We're done. And so we want to get what is their objection and is it workable or not? If it's not workable, move on. But if it's workable, like, oh, they really wanted a wet bar in the basement. They love the property, but they just need that wet bar because they want to rent out one room in the basement. Well, I'm a contractor. Would you put in a full price offer if I put in a wet bar? Or I sold a house, you guys, in Magnolia. They took a long time to sell, and the house was awesome. And I couldn't figure out why it wasn't selling. And so, I was calling personally all the brokers too, like, hey, just want your feedback, want your feedback. And this after being on market, we were there 60 days. We're thinking about doing a price cut, which would have been $50,000 on this house. It was an expensive home. And when I was talking to brokers, like, yeah, they just really want, they have a Tesla, they don't have a charging station, so they want a, charging station ready, and they really just need AC because they got kids coming, and they don't want to be upstairs. It's kind of hot, and so it just was missing those things. And the first thing I said, they go, what if I install AC for you in a charging station? She's like, oh, that would fix everything. She didn't even bother to call and tell me this. And so instead of dropping the price $50,000, we spent $15,000, and I was about ready to cut that price. And that's a net positive 35. So the brokers have to call. And you guys, if they don't pound the phones, they need to just, they're not for you. Especially you guys when it gets a little hard right now. Market's a little cool. How are we selling houses? We're calling people and talking to them. Just this deal right here, you guys in Bothell. We were listed for 1.3. My broker knew I would go down to 1.25 on it because we have plenty of margin. We were pushing the price at 1.3. These people were wanting to come in at 1.2. We went back and forth verbally with them for 3 weeks, and now we are closing all cash at 1.25. And because the broker knew that and they're talking with them and talking to them, we were able to work that deal out before it even hit paper. And so again, they have to call. I require my brokers to give me new inventories. If I have anything competition hitting the market at the same time as mine, they need to send it to me, and they need to call that broker. Hey, how's your activity going? How many showings are you getting? Are they getting more showings than my property? I need to know that. And that tells me when I'm, good on price or not. I hear this question a lot, like, my house hasn't sold. Do you think I should cut price? I have no clue. It all comes down to what's going on in the market. Right now, there's less selling going on. That's okay. Does that mean you need to cut price? Maybe, maybe not. Next thing we have to ask is our brokers call every active and new inventory because we just want to know what they're getting. How many showings are they getting? Are they getting any promises of offers? Have they got any offers? Are they low? Because that tells us whether we're priced well or not. If the comps say we're worth that, and we list a property and it has not sold in 3 weeks, but we're getting 3 showings a week, and every active property in the area is also getting 3 showings a week, that means The buyers are just, there's less buyers in the market. They're just waiting to make their choice, and our house will sell at some point. We're not going to cut price because then I'm just giving away money. Now, if I'm getting one showing and everyone else is getting 4 or 5, that tells me, okay, should I cut price? Probably. There's a reason people aren't looking at my house, and price might be the issue. And so this is feedback that we need, you guys. That's how we make those decisions. Cutting price to cut price doesn't make sense. Cutting price on data and what's going on in the market conditions is how we make those adjustments. They have to send us a written feedback from buyers every Monday. This is what's going on. And you guys, when I wrap up this presentation, I am going to take you through one of those real quick. I want to know, what are they saying? Are they real objections? Are they tire kickers? What's holding them back from an offer? Maybe it's just we're never going to get there. Maybe it's workable. What did I just throw at a buyer recently? Oh, no, I didn't throw anything at them. I just said, we told them what the prices would come down to, and we are firm on it. And now, and again, you guys were communicating with this buyer. They came in at 1.6. We're listed at 1.7. I said 1.65 is the number. And we were listed at 1.8 at the time, which again, that was 200 grand above our pro forma. We dropped to 1.7. They reached back out and we say, hey, you know our number, either get to that number or don't call us anymore. And that's okay. We can hold that line. And every week they're getting nervous it's going to sell because our showings, the broker calls and checks in. Hey, how's it going? Good. We just had 14 showings this weekend. That's a lot higher than most. That means we're going to sell. So by knowing this information, I don't have to worry about selling that deal to that buyer unless they come to the price I want. And then what's your recommendations to sell, you guys? If your broker can't tell you what you need to do to sell the property, they're just passing along a message. I need the broker who's I've hired to sell my home to give me what their recommendations is to sell it. If it's, hey, we're fine, we just need to sit tight on price, it's taking longer to sell houses, that's okay. That's the recommendation. It's, if we need to cut price, okay, how much and why? If we need to cancel the listing or reshoot, just what they need to tell me. And maybe it's just, hey, Jimmy, be patient. Because then I know what to do and I can focus on the rest. So what I'm going to do right now, because I thought this would be handy, and then I'm going to open it up for questions, is I am going to pull you can see exactly how we have see what I just got. And you guys, this is a house that we have listed in Redmond right now. This is a price point with the stock market pop that has definitely slowed down. And that's okay because that's part of the market, right? We're on market for like 30 days. A lot of the comps now are trending around the same time. We have a good product. We check the comps and everything looks good. So I'm not cutting price. There we go. I'm gonna pull this up because that's what the data is telling me to do, and I'm getting it from my broker. I'm not a person that's afraid to cut price if I need to cut price. I'm not a person also to wait it out if I need to wait it out, but I need it based on logic. So as you can see in this email, it says, hey, Jimmy, hope that you had a great weekend. We had 3 private showings on the house, 2 more scheduled for today. So we had 5 showings in the last 7 days. Friday, some guy from Skyline Properties didn't give us much feedback. That's okay. If they tried, hey, the guy's just not giving us much feedback. I don't know, kind of tire kickers. Then we had another one tour. His clients requested a pre-inspection report. That's a buying action. They want to see what's going on. When they followed up, they intended to submit an offer tomorrow. He mentioned over the weekend his clients were potentially contingent on their sale nearby. So that's great news, right? Like, you guys, this is actually the first time I'm reading this email. I just saw it hit my email today. But that's great news. We have a lead that they're working on. And because in the back of my mind, you guys, this is a deal I perform it out at $2,050,000 when I went to sell. Now the market jumped a little bit, lack of inventory. We listed at 2.199 because we had a new sale halfway through the construction. We upgraded some things. I know I'm good at my price, and I'm just kind of holding it right now. Again, we've been on market 50 days. I'm not nervous because every comp's telling me we're worth it. We got to get the right buyer. So now we have a good lead, right? We can work the pre-inspection. So instead of me going, should I cut price? I'm going, okay, we're getting good activity and serious interest. If no one's asking me for a pre-inspection, that means they're just, the house ain't really that attractive to people. But if people are asking for a pre-inspection, even though they're not writing the deal, it's showing enough interest to where I'm going to hold my price and worry more about negotiating that price when I get the offer than cutting and then having to renegotiate again. And so great feedback. It says a broker from Redfin toured. She mentioned they're still considering it. Though they expressed concerns about concerns about the layout on the side yard feels too disconnected. I can't fix that. I can't move the yard. But what this does tell me is, okay, we got Sanjeev asked for a pre-inspection. They're thinking about writing. Sunday, Phobe went and looked at it. They said they're considering, even though they don't really like the yard that much, but they're considering. This is great, as then the broker now can call and go, hey, just so you know, appreciate your feedback. I don't know if we can do much to the yard, but if you want us to add any spaces, let us know. We can look at it, but we could be getting an offer because we want to start giving FOMO to that buyer. And that's the communication we want. If it's someone just sending emails, this does not happen. So now we can drop FOMO on the second one. You might lose this house if you don't jump on this. Sanjeev, we can call and say, hey, did you get the pre-inspection report? Your clients are potentially contingent. Can you send me any information on that? Just so you know, we have someone that this is on their top of their list. And we can work this by communicating and start dragging in an offer. After they give us the feedback on the showings, then it says, here's a quick what's going on in the market. Well, here's a property that just hit market at 1.89 million below us. They're at 503 a foot. And then she gives me her notes on this. Not cohesively updated, low grade materials, LVP, plastic sours, inserts. So I don't get worried about this as a seller. I'm priced 200 grand above them, but it's a different product at this point. Next one, active at 2.5 million above us, 23 days on market, 643 a foot, 8. She's giving me my core information I can look at. Says track home built in 2004, so it's newer. Original finishes right off Lake Sammamish Parkway, so that's a busy road. Broker unavailable, left a message. So I'm not going to get too worried about this because if the broker you can't get them on the phone, they're not selling anyways, and we're priced below this one. But it's just just shows what we are. And then after she summarizes, she goes, given the recent uptick in activity and the potential offer in play, I would suggest to hold firm now. I believe the price is justified based on the recent patterns. I would prepare for the next buyer push for a reduction. We will cross that path when we get there. We have comps prepared to push back. So what she's saying is, hey, I got it. I am working the offer. Right now, I know you want to sell this house, James. You've had it on market for a while. You want to go buy another deal, but just stay tight right now. And that's valuable feedback for me as the seller, right? Should I cut price? She also adds in all the links to everything she referenced so I can see what she's talking about. That's our active competition and pendings in the area right now. There's our flip right now. Good looking house. Turned out good. It's nicer than everything else. But the thing is, in this market right now, the upper echelons is a little bit slower. So that's the feedback, you guys. And if your broker can give you that feedback, they can give you good direction, which again frees up time and builds you a business. And that's who we need to find. And so right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up for questions. And I really want to know if you cannot find this broker on your bench, I want to know why, what you're asking them, and who you're calling, because we got to fix that. So let me see. No one's hands are up, so I'm gonna go to the chat. Oh, here's an investment broker right now that I saw. Tiana from our team just hopped on.
Oh, hello.
I was just talking about how to vet the brokers, and if they're lazy, don't hire them. I didn't say lazy, but if they can't. So actually, real quick, Tiana. So you sell to investors, right?
Yes, I do.
When you send them a deal, how do you send it to them? Do you put them on a drip campaign?
No, I call all my investors first.
So you call them, and then when you send them an opportunity, do you just send them a list? Like, how do you send the opportunity to them?
I'll email it to them. I mean, typically what I'll do first is I'll call them and see if that's something that they're interested in, which most of the time I know that they are. And then I'll run it by them over the phone, kind of go over more of the details. Because sometimes it's just there's things that, you just want to chat through it. I'm just a talker. I don't prefer to email everything. And then I'll send it via email. And then it gives them the chance to kind of look everything over, and then from there we can chat more after that, and usually schedule a showing within the next 24 hours.
And then what do you send them
Oh,
when you're sending them the information?
so we send them a deal sheet essentially, and so it's going to have everything on there. So it'll have the acquisition price, the rehab, so it'll have the performa, and then it'll have a scope of work, as well as the comps. And the comps are very detailed, so it'll kind of, if we've most of the time we've walked the comps as well. They're detailed. They've been looked through by multiple levels of leadership. The photos are inside and out. The What's nice about the budget sheet is it's the same budget sheet that you guys use, so it's easier to understand. And it's a very comprehensive budget sheet as well that's also been looked over by multiple people. So through that, you can pretty much get a really good idea on what it's going to be. Obviously, everyone's cost, of construction is going to be a little different, so that can vary. But for the most part, we've been pretty spot on, and investors are pretty happy with what we provide them, and what comes out of it.
Yeah, and you guys, this is important, right? Like what Tiana just delivers is granted, we go a little bit extra beyond with the budget, right? But even if, I mean, there's plenty of clients Tiana has too that they have their own costs. They don't even look at our budget sheet. They're going to look at, Tiana's recommendation of, hey, this is what you need to do here to increase the value. I think it could cost 200 grand and they might be 150 or they might be 250. But the most important thing is she's telling them what needs to happen. This is what I think you should buy it for. And this is what you need to do to it to achieve this value. And then as investors, you guys, we do have to kind of like, hey, what's our cost of money? What's our cost of construction? We got to plug those things in, but it allows the investor to focus on that rather than go, oh, let me go on Zillow and look at comps all day. And let me look at this. And like, we want to prevent wasted time. And one of the biggest things to waste time on is when you're getting that much information, to not stop what you're doing to race out to a house that's just not for you. And so that's why we want to find the Tianas out there. And you guys, Tiana is a broker, and this wasn't planned, by the way. I was just opening up for questions. I just saw you pop in, but
That's funny.
Tiana's background, there's all sorts of people I do business with. Now my Newport Beach broker's calling me too with some sort of update.
Andy,
Andy.
what's up, Andy?
Um, and Tiana came from luxury real estate. And then she had a background in investment, but she understood what people wanted, right? And so when she came on our team and she started essentially selling me properties, it was, hey, Tiana, this is what I need for you to be successful and for me to be successful. Like, did you ever send out deals that way before you worked here?
No, not really.
And so you guys, it's trainable, right? If you find the people and if you have that clear list of what you need, then you can give it to the broker and say, hey, like for me to buy a deal, if you can just send me this stuff, I can make a quicker decision. That's what we want to do is go, who's the person that's ambitious? And I will say, Tiana's ambitious. She gets a lot of deals done. She's a pit bull on finding deals. But she does it in the way that the client's also asking for. And the reason she gets deals done is because she's delivering it to the client with the information they need to buy. And that's who we have to find. And so again, it's not about the discount broker, it's about the people that will give us, they can focus on the getting us the best deal so we can focus on our business. The money's made on the plan, not the buy. And so we want to focus on the plan. So then you find brokers like Tiana in all your markets or wherever it is to get you those deals. And so that's why I have that list of requirements in Arizona. If they don't give them to me that way, I'm not looking at it because they're not saving me time. the person I'm hiring is not supposed to create me more work. It's supposed to, create value. And so those are things that we want to do. Shannon says, James, do you have a person who works for you that notarized in your office? So you don't need signing appointments. We do. We have 4 or 5 notaries in our office. So we don't have to have signing appointments. Hence why I get to sign my docs right now as I'm Oh, and Tiana, Bothell. Tiana found me my Bothell deal. Look, it's closing. So but yes, we do. And then Elise says, do you guys give a full 3% or 3% when using the same broker to buy and sell, then sell the property after it's renovated? My broker has taken discounts voluntarily. She reps me buying and reps selling a few weeks later. Is that normal? Work that out with your broker. We pay full 3 because I want them to do a lot of work for me. Like I want, for Tiana to sell me a house, she needs to underwrite it. She needs to send me a bunch of information. If I can't get there, she's going to send me photos. Um, or my listing broker. They have to go to my job site. Like for me, I always look at, okay, even if they're going to give me a discount, which I do think is reasonable on a quick flip, but I would rather have them go check on my job site for me once a week than, because if I can have someone go to a job site, if my average project takes 16 weeks to renovate and they'll go 16 times and it takes them an hour each time, you guys, I'm not paying them that much. Let's say I can save 1 point on that deal and I'd sell it for $1 million. That's $10,000, but it gets me 16 job sites visits and they're keeping their eye on things and they're giving recommendations for flow and layout. I'm paying them not very much. Like I'm basically, well, $600 a visit. But the biggest thing is, like when my broker goes, they go, "Hey, look, like recently, this was a great catch. I had laid out a primary bathroom and a closet. My project manager contractor, yeah, this looks good. This feels good. Let's roll with it." The listing broker went out there and she walks it. She goes, "Guys, this doesn't feel right. You need to move this here, this here. This is going to make it a way better space. You're going to get a better bathroom this way. Your closet doubles in size, and this is what people want." And we were framing right now, so it didn't cost me anything else to change it. But now I have a more marketable house, and that's why I want my listing broker to walk it. And so, you can work it out with the brokers. What I prefer to do, guys, because I want them to be motivated, is I always say, "Hey, look, I'm going to pay you that 3%. And for some reason something goes wrong, you just got to help me out here, right?" Like, I just was on the phone with a broker today who's doing a list back for me, and I called her and I go, I might need some help on this listing. She's like, "Why? You guys are crushing it. You're getting it done fast." I go, "Yeah, but when we wrote this up, we had a septic report, and it turns out the septic report was wrong, and now it's going to cost me $35,000." And she's like, "Oh crap." Which that's a lot of the profit. I'm like, "So do you think you're gonna be able to help me out on this one?" And no, I said, the margins evaporated and I didn't even have to ask her. She goes, "Don't worry, we will help out. Let's just get through it." And so now instead of worrying about the profit, I'm worried about how can I get this done for less than 35 grand. And this is just a bad luck thing. Like they tested it, it worked, and now they went and retested it, it's not working. And it just somehow within an 8-week construction period, the thing just went wrong. And so, but we're partners. I do a lot of deal with this person, and she's not thinking about the commission. She's going, "Hey, let's just get through the deal." And she's like, "Let me know what you come up with." And even when I signed the listing agreement with her, I'm going to sign it at 3%. And then when it comes down to closing, and if there's something wrong, I know she's going to chip in and help. And so then I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about fixing the problem. So that's who we want on our team. Do you think open houses are effective for selling homes? I personally, I'm kind of torn on this. Um, so as a broker, I've only done 2 open houses in my whole life. I did one, was my first listing, so I thought should do that, and it was during 2008, and no one came to the open house. And I remember I was there I somehow found a BB gun, and I was shooting pop cans the whole time. No one came. In the second, I randomly sold the house out of an open house, when the person came in. And I will say I was really happy to be there because I could walk the people through the updates. It's a very expensive home. It was like our first $4 million flip, and it did work. And I used to think open houses didn't work. And I do think open houses are effective as long as they know what the product is. If it's just someone sitting there holding it open, it doesn't really matter if it's open or not. What sells it is, so even brokers, we have a lot of brokers that sit our open houses because they want to generate buyers. We send them a fact sheet and they got to put that out and they have to know the facts about the house because we do want them educating those buyers through. And so I do think it's an effective way as long as the right person's sitting it open. I don't think they have to be open every weekend. Don't think that really works. But it does help when a new buyer comes in, they get kind of trapped in it. They fall in love. They can the questions because maybe they haven't hired a broker yet. And so any kind of marketing does help, but I don't think they sell houses all that much. I would say we very rarely sell a house out of an open house. And this is Sanders says, I have a property owner financing 5%, 20 years, but asking 149, needs 30K and work. $10,000 down payment. Cam 230. Sure, I rent for 1,300 monthly. Sure, I sell. Do I offer less on the property? Okay, Sandra, this one's Sandra, are you on right now? Let me see. Sandra, can you hear me? I think she might have came. I'm gonna wait until Sandra comes back on and then I'll answer this question. What other questions do we have, guys? Questions about brokers? What else you got going on?
James,
Oh, here we go,
yeah,
Sandra. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm a little
Wow.
confused
Yeah.
by this. Can you give me a quick rundown on this?
Okay, they asking 149. I need like $30,000 in work. The comps are 230. The rent is the higher is be 1,400,
Okay.
and they offer to find owner finance for 20 years with we I think 10,000 down payment.
Okay. All right. So the first question, what is the owner financing rate and what's your payment?
The payment it will be 1350, something like that. And it's 5%. They finance the 5%.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do right now. Let me share my screen. So you guys, we do have the rental calc in our sheet, but one thing to think about right now with this what Sandra just asked. So she can get owner financing at 5%. That's great. And a lot of people will jump at that because like, oh, 5% is really low right now. That's a good deal. Just because the rate's low doesn't mean it always makes money. And so Sandra, again, what was the payment with taxes and insurance in there again?
1360.
Okay, and then what's the rents on this one again?
The higher be for 1,500. That's the higher.
Okay, like do you feel good about 1,500 or
Yeah.
1,450?
I was tell her the rent's going around between 1,400 and 1,700. So I say 1,500 $50.
Okay, and you said your payment was 1,342, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys on a conservative, and Sandra, good job. You don't want to go to the high rents. So you're running
No.
conservative. So
Yeah.
she's gonna make $158 a month. And Sandra, that doesn't cover like property management if you use some. A lot of people don't. I don't.
I don't. I will do it it's like 5 minutes. It's in my neighborhood.
Okay, and then there's like the maintenance expense and all those other things. So your cost
Mhm.
might be a little bit higher than 1342. Because you guys, when we're looking at rents, you always want to allocate like, hey, what's your maintenance expense for the year? I put in 3% on my rent income just in case the hot water tank goes out. And it might not go out this year, but it could go out in the future. So it gives me reserves. And so typically I allocate about 3 to 4% or about 4% a year for maintenance and just costs. And so 1342 or 1500, times that by 5% is going to be $75. Divide that by 12. Oh, wait, no, that's not very much. 1500 times that by 5%. Is that right? 75 bucks. So $75 a month. And so your true mortgage cost or your true costs are going to be more like 1400. So you're really going to cash flow, like best case scenario, $100 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then we want to times this by 12. Like, do we buy this or not? And so times that by 12, that's $1,200 that you're going to make a year in income. Now, in your scenario, how much were you going to have to put down again on this property?
Oh, that's because I'm asking you, is that 10,000 plus I gotta pay the agent fee because they change the things, and then I need to put like, that's my word, I need to put like 30,000 and work.
Okay, so we have 30,000 in work plus roughly what, 16,000 for down payment and agent fee?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Okay.
she said 2%.
Okay, so more like 15,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your cash out of pocket on this is going to be $45,000,
Wow. Yeah.
right? Because your rehab is 30.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we want to do is, do we keep this or not? And so what we want to do is go, what's our annual cash flow after expenses? And it's going to be $1,200 for the year. Then we divide it by the cash invested, which is going to be, say, 45,000 on this property. And that's going to give you a 2.6% cash on cash return.
Oh, that's too low.
You could put it in the bank and make more.
Yeah.
The one benefit is though, is if you can pick up a lot of equity in the deal.
I think, yeah, because the houses, before all this going on, it was like maybe 260, 270.
Okay, so that's the enhancer on the deal. So so you're gonna pick up roughly, you're buying it for 170, right? Sorry.
149. Yeah, well,
Okay.
plus.
So 149 plus 30
Mhm.
plus
Oh, yeah, plus the closing cost.
so 149 plus, you said it's about 6,000 in closing costs, right?
Yes.
6,000. And then plus 30,000 in
Yes.
renovation.
Mhm.
And so, oops, plus 149. So you're into it for 185 and you feel pretty good about 270?
Yes.
Yeah, and so
She
one
say
thing,
in a good day 285,
okay.
but I say 270 for like, I don't
So
know.
let's put in this flip calc. I'm gonna put it in this way. Since it's right here. So we got 270,000. I think this is gonna be a flip all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're eating up cash. And I know with you have like lots that you're looking at building that requires cash too.
Yes.
But your interest rate's at 5% during this flip. You won't have any points.
No.
And then you're buying this property for 175,000 or sorry, 149,000.
Mhm.
You're putting $30,000 in. And how long do you think it would take you to fix that property?
It should not take more than 2 months
Okay,
because
so let's say,
it's nothing like structural, it's just cosmetic and, change the bathrooms, change the kitchen because they totally mess.
here's your down payment. So right now, Sandra, so what you want to do is put it in your flip calc too, that you have.
Mhm.
And based on that, you're paying 149, rehab out of pocket at 30, your down payment's 15,000. This is
Mhm.
going to calculate your cash out of pocket, which is 47,000 with all your payments, your down payments, all your closing costs and your rehab. You're
Mhm.
making 57,936 on 47 invested. So you're making 121% return.
Oh, wow.
Whereas if you keep it as a rental, you're making 2%.
Oof.
So this one, and you guys, that's the reason I want to do that. That's the exercise we want to do. Do we keep it or do we sell it? Now,
Mhm.
Sandra, if you want to build up your rental portfolio, the one good thing is you could buy that property, renovate it, and then sell it in a year and 1031 exchange it and probably trade that for a much bigger property at that point.
Yeah.
But the
And
thing
you
that
know
you have to
that
ask
the
yourself is, are you okay partying with $50,000 for the next year, or can you do something else with it?
okay.
And if it was me, if I can make 121% on my money or three, I'm gonna sell the house.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And you know what is the plus? I just call the agent called me and she say the owner on the next lot. I just need to find out with the city if that lot is like it's a plus that I can keep it, we can keep it, or we can sell it, or we can build it. I like to have an extra lot.
Oh yeah, because you could flip that thing and keep the lot for free too. So you can make
Hmm.
100% of
Hmm.
your money and keep a free lot.
Yeah,
That
that's what
well, the bad news is I don't think it's a very good rental. The good news is I think it's a great flip.
that's what I was thinking when I see the house. Yeah. Okay.
And you guys,
Sounds
so
good.
everyone on this call, when you're looking at do we keep or do we sell, what's our cash invested? Divide that by our annualized return, and then let's see what our cash flow is. I talk about this a lot in our buy box. We have to set that, for me, if I'm going to keep a rental property, depending on the location, like if it's in like a B market of Seattle, I want it to cash flow at 8 to 10% and have a 20% equity play. This house would have the 20% equity play, but it's not going to get me 8%. And so for me, on my buying, I'm not buying this deal to keep it. But then I put it in my flip calc, and if I can make that same return, or if I can make the return that's higher my expectations, then I sell it. So I'll run the what's your annualized return versus your flip. And I would say that this one is a great flip though.
Okay, thank you. The reason, yeah, because when I was reading yesterday about the buybacks, I kind of have an idea, so I was thinking like I should buy only for 110, but they're not gonna accept 110 either because the house was like the 2 weeks in the market, and I mean but I know they want to sell it because they have a rent somebody there, and it was kind of destroying the property. So I know they want to sell it, so but 110 I think is not gonna go for.
Well, and you don't want to lose a good opportunity because you're only looking at it one way. And I think if it's really worth that 270 and you can get it done for 30, that's a no-brainer deal to flip.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Sandra, you're my kind of person. You're always in deals. I like it. You got all sorts of deals going on.
All right. I'm still waiting in the bank to write the underwriter the proposal they are sending to you.
Okay, perfect. Yes. I want to
Okay.
recap on that.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Sandra. John asks, I'm thinking about expanding my buy box a bit. What are your thoughts on flipping townhouses, condos? What are solid cash on cash returns, net profit, et cetera, for those type of properties? You guys, I have no problem flipping townhomes and condos. I think they can be great. The thing about them typically is they have a lower profit margin, but they're faster deals. And so you're going to make less, but you can do it a lot quicker. So your annualized returns, good. The issue I have with some condos is it's hard to get that big discount on a condo because they're not as beat up. And so a lot of times they're just hard to find. Or maybe they're a really good deal at the time because there can be HOA issues. And so, things that you want to look at before you buy a condo is use comps inside the building. You guys don't go outside the building. Not unless you have a better building because amenities, HOAs, all those things can affect the pricing so much. Someone might pay 50 grand more for the condo complex next door because their HOA dues are $200 less a month. They have better reserves and they got a pool or they have concierge service. So I don't like to go outside the building. And so I keep with that. The other thing you want to do is you have to read your HOA certs. What are the restrictions on it? What do you need to do to renovate the property? How much reserves do they have? If they don't have healthy reserves, you might not be able to get an FHA buyer. If your comp inside the building sold 7 months ago and they didn't have a special assessment and it was FHA financeable, but thing changed and now it's only conventionally financeable, that's going to shrink your buyer pool. So you just want to really, go into the HOA docs. What's the reserves? Is there financing? Has anything changed since the comps? And then, overall, your overall profit is going to be smaller, but your annualized return will be good. And so you really want to look at the annualized, like in and out on that. And then Alicia made another, and this is very valid. I haven't ran into this yet on maybe the complexes I'm buying in, but you have some complexes, usually the more expensive ones, they have contractor requirements to where you have to use their list that's been approved, or your contractor has to get approved with them. But sometimes they got to be voted in. It can take a long time. And oh yeah, it happened to a friend in Atlanta. And you guys, usually if it's a preferred contractor, they're going to charge a lot more. And so you do want to check that out. You guys read that HOA certificate. It talks about the bylaws, the rules, everything. You don't want to miss something there. Sana says, hey James, I've applied for permits as part of structural changes. We need to install 2 beams in the kitchen and 2 beams in our bedrooms along with some posts. We also need 2 by 2 footings. Permits, timelines, and Edmonds. Man, I will say I got a project in Edmonds right now. They are not fast. I'm waiting on my permits too. They have dramatically slowed down the last couple months. I don't know what is going on there. Is around 6 to 8 weeks. So we want to start working on framing up the walls and install beams. What is your experience about doing footings in terms of inspections? Do I wait until I get permits, then show the rebar, or are photos enough? Okay, so you guys, every city is different. This one in Edmonds, I don't quite know on because I haven't really talked to inspector enough about the rebar inspections. Some people are really cool with photos and some are not. And it's not even just the city, it's more the inspector. What I would do is I would start on that project in Edmonds. Well, the first thing I would do is there a way to get around this that can help the permits go faster? So one thing I would say is if you're opening up the kitchen wall, I would ask the architect and engineer, will it make the permit go faster if we leave 2 posts in the island or a post in the island? Sometimes you guys, you can leave a post in the island, you still get the same concept, and it will help you avoid a longer permit and less beam install, so it can keep the cost down. If they can do that, I would then call my broker and say, hey, do you think it matters if we have a post in our island? And then they can look at comps and they can go, hey, I don't think you need to do it, or yes, we need to do it. My guess is you can probably get around it and make it decorative. And so I would ask them that first, because if you can get your permit in 4 weeks and not have to spend the money on a bunch of beams and footings, it might not affect your margin at all. And so ask that question. And so you guys, that's the first thing I always do is I get the problem. I go, is there a workaround on this? And we just have to ask.
James.
Yes.
Hi. So in this case, there is no way to get around. Even
Okay.
with the post, we have to mess with the foundation.
Okay.
So they have to do 2 additional footings if I don't install the beams. So if I install the beams, I can only get away with 1 footing. If not, like I have to mess with like 2 or 3 footings.
Okay. If you don't put the beam in.
Yes.
Okay. And then I'm guessing I like that you've already asked this and that you've explored both. I'm loving that. And so I'm guessing you got quotes for footings and beams, and the footings were cheaper.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense then. So what I would do is I would start working on it. They can put the footings in and set the rebar, but they don't have to backfill it.
Okay.
And so just leave it exposed. So when you call in for your inspections, they can come in, check it, and then fill it.
Got it. So meanwhile, as it takes like 6 to 8 weeks, I'll be working on framing, plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. and then invite an inspector once I have the permits and then backfill it, right?
Yeah, and then backfill. And what I will do is we've been waiting on permits in Edmonds too for not a big project either. I was like, wow, what is going on? You guys, and this is the thing. Sometimes, I mean, Edmonds was fairly quick, and then things come up and they get bogged down. Or like Seattle has actually gotten faster in the last couple months. I'd say last 4 or 5 months, and Bellevue's gotten a lot longer. So they all have these variables. I would say Edmonds is way longer than it usually is. But what I will do is when we do one of our inspections out there, I'll have my project manager ask him, like, hey, so we ever did this? Would you think this is a big deal? And I'll see what he says.
Got it. Okay.
But
Thanks
right
for
now, I would not, because you just don't want to have to go backwards. And it really depends on the person that's coming out.
Okay. Okay. So at this point, I'll just not backfill. I'll just ask the contractor to put in the rebars then.
Yeah, because they can get it all set and everything. They don't actually have to put in the concrete right away.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
And also regarding the same property, so we are doing the new master suite where we have to install the fan in the bathroom. So this is a flat roof, and we don't have like much open in the ceilings.
okay, yep.
To have the vent into the exterior wall. So either they have to go through the roof, or we have to completely change the layout for the location of the fan and shower. So at this point, do you suggest installing fan in the exterior wall itself rather than in the ceiling?
Um, so one thing you can do, actually, I just literally was pricing these out. A Panasonic, because I just found these. They sell a pretty good low depth fan. And so oh, man, where was that fan? I'm gonna put it in the link right now because I was researching this on a house because I kept getting these crazy, crazy prices on them. So I'm gonna put the link in. This is a good fan. I think it was like $40.
Okay.
See, guys, I'm always pricing stuff. Oh no, the Panasonic was 94. But that's a pretty good fan. It's a high CFM. You can find one a little bit cheaper. There we go. And then they have them in a low dimension. And then another thing is what we did is we called our Ferguson's rep, and they gave us a bunch of options too. Because that's gonna be a little tricky. But if they try to charge you a bunch for that fan, don't let them, okay? Because they were hitting me with these weird numbers. I don't you can go straight through the roof. I mean, that's not going to be the end of the world. It's a flat roof, but they can put it in and then seal it that way. Because can you not go out the side in the ceiling?
No, we can't, because there's no much room in the trusses. Like they can't do the ducting itself.
They should be able to hard pipe it. Good. Do you know how many inches it is?
No, we could hardly see it actually, to be honest.
Okay. You can't go through the roof. That's fine.
But will that be an expensive process as it's a membrane roofing?
No, not really, because it's not TPO. It's torch, right?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, it's torch. Yeah.
Okay, so torch, they can seal that up. TPO is a little bit harder because that's a welded one. And so, no, Ferguson's is everywhere, Omar. That's a big company. I bought all my plumbing in California from them, actually. And so that it's not too hard. I would just, when the contractor bids it for you, just say including venting and roof repair.
Sorry.
Sorry guys, someone said they got locked out and they can't get back in. Oh, one thing, guys, if for some reason when I'm on, if you could email, and I'm probably sometimes not the best person to hit up for this stuff because I'm just teaching. If you could just send it to the CRM, you'll probably get a quicker response because he sent me this a little while ago. But it should not be expensive. I mean, you're looking at maybe like $100.
Okay, got it. Okay. And even in general, what is your opinion of fan in the wall rather than in the ceiling?
If I would go inside the wall,
Yeah.
that's so. The one problem is like it should be vented up a little bit, not down, and it should be vented. You don't want like if your fan's up here, right, and then you want to bring it down the wall, you're gonna 90-degree that, and that can cause some moisture issues. Is that what you're kind of talking about? They would take it from the ceiling, or are you talking about putting it on the side?
Yes, putting on the side.
Oh, you know, usually moisture rises up, so I don't really like that. Like
Okay.
steam. You'd want to put in a bigger CFM though, and then it might be a little weird. And I think the cost of your fan for the bigger CFM to suck it out is going to be the same cost as buying a fan and patching the roof.
Oh, got it. Got it. Okay.
But you know, I would also ask the architect for like, I mean, Raleigh, you're on the call. You do a lot. Have you ever put a fan in the side?
No, I know they
Yeah,
fabricate fans that can handle it,
But
but I've
those are
never
expensive though,
done it.
right?
More expensive, and I've been listening in. I do the same thing. I just go right through the cap sheet roof.
Yeah. Yeah, I would.
okay.
I think it's going to be a better install, and you're not going to save any money by doing the side. I think it's going to be a little weird for people, and when it's on the side, it's got to suck so much harder. So you're going to have to get a bigger fan,
Okay.
and
Okay.
it'll be
Got it.
louder too. I would just go through the ceiling, but don't let
Okay.
because you are using a general contractor.
Yes.
It should not cost a lot to do that. It's
Okay.
it should be $100.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay.
Yep.
And one more question on the same property. So we started
So,
demolishing
and then
on
one
this
more thing,
property.
Sana, on that. When next time it's open, just stick a tape measure up there and bring that in
Okay.
with the dimension because sometimes they say that because they're using bigger ducting, but you can get hard pipe ducting that's thinner too and go out the side.
Okay.
So that I highly doubt that like even the one I'm using right, I think it's like 4.5 inches, right? There's not a lot of room there, but
Oh.
we're going out the side.
Okay. So the hard pipe ducting is what something I should talk to the contractor with.
Yeah, I kind of need to see the dimension, then I can kind of look at some products. But that could be another way to fix that. But I would say through the roof or hard pipe it.
Okay. Got it. Okay. And one more question on the same property is we started demolishing and later on we decided to apply for the permits. So this, as a part of permit process, Edmonds is requesting for asbestos abatement right now. I mean, asbestos abatement, but like we kind of removed the popcorn ceiling and everything. What would you suggest to do?
Okay, so the question is they're asking for an abatement. Wait, are they? I thought the code in Edmonds, because I'm doing the same thing right now, was if it was less than $100,000 in work.
It's $75,000 in work or less than 750 square feet.
Okay, so if you guys are doing like a cosmetic upgrade, can you just put 70,000 on the permit?
That's what I actually did. Like
Okay.
I just saying that I'm only touching less than 750 square feet, even though I'm doing the whole renovation for the house. But technically, I'm only moving the structures in less than 750 square feet. And I just, as a part of permit process, I put like my renovation cost is less than 75,000. So that way, I'm trying to get out of it. But like
Okay.
I'm just concerned if they come back to me questioning, okay, you're touching the whole house. So.
Well, I might have an answer for you real quick because we just did the same thing. Me and you are on the same page right now. So we just did the exact same thing. We're waiting to hear on our last revision. You know what? You want me to just make a phone call on this right now?
Okay.
See, guys, this is real coaching. We're in the weeds together. Hold on, because I'm waiting for an answer on that. And then I'll answer your other question. So you've already removed it, right? The
Yes.
popcorn?
Yes.
Hey, real quick, I'm on call with our coaching call, and someone's asking some questions about Edmonds. Did we get our response back from Edmonds yet? Because I know they were asking about the permit size for the abatement.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
and that's Sahana's dealing with the same thing, right?
Yep, yeah, that's what we're talking about, actually. Did we get a
Yeah, I mean-
response back on our dollar amount that we put on?
Not yet, no.
Okay,
We put $65,000 under 700 square feet. My understanding was if you did that, you got to bypass the abatement portion.
yep, yeah, no, I was just trying to give her an update because I think we submitted for permits a little bit before her.
Yep.
So I was just seeing if we had a jump on that for her. So just text me when you hear on that, will you?
Yep, you bet.
Okay, thanks. Bye. All right, as soon as I hear, I'll let you know.
Sounds good, James.
So yeah, we're doing the same thing. So what I would do is if it is, and you've already removed it, that's fine. You know, they're gonna require a survey though, and the surveys,
Okay.
and so you need to make sure that it's very clean everywhere.
Okay, when you say clean, just
like-
the house, or should I do the mudding and primage?
I am definitely going in the gray right now. I would repair the texture,
Okay,
but
Okay.
just make sure it's and you should be doing it yourself, technically.
yeah, that's one of the thing I've mentioned in the permit process, is saying that I'm doing it by myself. As a
Okay, and
new-
that's fine. You guys, asbestos, you can remove it yourself. You just gotta dump it, and there's less. So, if it was me, I'd probably just retexture, but just get that out of the way.
Okay, so for retexturing itself, like, so as it takes like 6 to 8 weeks, so I'm planning to do plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. So by that time, they'll be done with the rough-in, right? So that will be a good time for me to retexture and the paint the ceiling, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I was just
And-
thinking, you just don't want it. You don't want anything disturbed if someone's going out there to run a test on that.
Okay, so but technically they would take the sample from the ceiling.
Yes, they would. And so that's why you just want to make sure it's completely cleaned.
Okay.
You can also see if there's any yourself prior and just take a piece and take it and get tested yourself.
Okay, got it.
Um,
Okay, yeah,
kind of,
that makes sense. And also one of the contractor was suggesting to get a kit from Amazon and do a sample and show it to an inspector, saying that like it was a negative.
wait, can you say that one more time?
So getting looks like we can get an kit through Amazon and get like random sample tested in Amazon showing that like it's negative.
You could, but if you have to do the survey, they're not going to do it that way. And so for me, I'd probably just, because it's not going to cost much to drop it off at a sample place.
Okay.
I get a little worried about stuff that comes in on Amazon that doesn't work a lot of times.
Okay.
And so I would, if it was me, I would probably just take that little piece and just see if
Okay.
there's anything on there.
Okay, just take some sample like which is like clean and then take it to the testing and then I can show it as a proof.
No, they're going to want a survey.
Uh,
So because they're going to want an asbestos survey, and that's a company that comes out there. And Ryan has good referrals on that, but they're going to do a survey. They got to pull 20 to 30 samples.
oh wow, okay.
And so that's why I would say you could go grab a piece yourself and just test it to make sure there's nothing weird about it.
Okay, so let's say if it comes positive or heat, what am I supposed to do at that point?
Wow, we are getting deep into environmental right now. So if it becomes positive, there's kind of two things you got to do. You either have to have it abated. You don't want to tell someone to remove it at that point at all.
Okay, okay,
And so you would want to have a company come out and finish cleaning it that's certified, or you
Okay.
could remove it yourself.
okay,
But
got it.
don't have anybody who's not certified removing it.
Okay. Okay, sounds good.
And so let's just take it one kind of step at a time. Just I would grab like 3 or 4 little pieces from the ceiling, have that tested, and then see what
Okay.
happens.
Okay, sounds good. I'll do
Yeah.
that. Thank you, James.
Cool.
Thank you.
And you guys, that's why we always want to talk to our cities, and this is new. Edmonds, like the city that I'm in, Song's in. This was not a requirement. We've done lots of projects in Edmonds, and this is a new thing. It basically, if it's above 75,000, they want a survey, and they want the stuff abated, and that can cost sometimes. This is new, so like if there's a bigger project, we just have to throw it on our budget going forward because this is. I mean, I just did a project in Edmonds like 90 days before this, and this was not a requirement for us. So that things change all the time. Jason, what's up, buddy?
How are you, James?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Good. I have a really simple question for you on the condo that me and my partner were flipping in Mill Creek.
I know you got 2 going on.
Yeah, and I have one in Renton we're gonna start in July. But may I share my screen?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool. Okay, can you see this?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so the question I have for you is when I walk into the condo, it's got like old people smell. And the owner before there, like I think she was smoking. So me and my partner, obviously my partner haven't come up here. Then he's like, no, it's fine. We're just gonna put some scent in it. And we're not gonna paint and we're not gonna redo the flooring, the carpet. But I think we should just to get rid of the smell. And then all of the comps in here. Like this one sold last week.
And Jason, how bad of smoke are you talking? Because you might want to kill his primer it first before you paint.
Wait, say that again.
So if you paint over it, the smoke smell can still bleed through pretty quickly.
Uh,
And so what you want to use prior is you want to have your painter spray something called Kills primer on it.
okay, Chaos
It's an
Primer.
oil-based primer.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, or it says Kills and Autobahn. I haven't used Autobahn. I've only used Kills, but that will help take that out. And then also the smoke, because also if you just paint over, there's any smoke damage, it will actually bleed through again. And so that will prevent that.
Got it.
It's
Can
not
you
the cheapest stuff. It's probably about another $1 a foot to paint on the inside.
I see. Can you see the video right now?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the unit. I mean, how bad is the smoke? It's just a little bit, but it's mainly like the old people smell. It doesn't smell pleasant, you know?
Okay, so I mean, you'll have to kind of make the call on that. If you don't think it's that bad and you don't want to spend the money on the kills, I would run an ozone machine in there for 2
Ozone?
days.
Okay.
And you can rent those. You can buy them on Amazon, but the ones that are pretty heavy duty, you can rent at Home Depot. And you basically close it up tight and you run it in there for like 2 days and it zaps all the smell.
Got it.
Don't go in the place when it's running
Okay.
because it's turning oxygen into carbon, and so it's not good for you.
Oh, I see. Okay. Um, so
Oh yeah, we should just said the same thing, ozone.
perfect.
But if it's heavily thicked on, it will come back. So
Gotcha. Also, do you think so? All of the comps, like no recent in the last 90 days, but this one, for instance, this one's is literally a unit below us. And they got like fresh carpet and paint. And my partner was saying, I think our carpet and paint is fine. So do you think we should do new carpet and paint?
I mean, if it smells, you gotta. I would definitely get the carpet out.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you could steam clean it. It just if it smells, right? Like someone's not gonna want to buy it. No, but I don't understand the comp though, because how is it below you if it has vaulted ceilings?
It's either below me or on the other side, but this is like in the same building, the E302.
Okay, and then what unit are you?
I'm E301.
So this is the comp you're using is on the top floor and you're on the bottom.
I'm on the top as well. So I think
Okay.
it's probably on the other side.
Okay. Okay. So you have vaulted ceilings and all that too.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it looks bad right now, like I can't smell it, right? It's not sketch, so I don't know how bad the smell is.
Yeah.
In theory, you could get a carpet cleaner that has an extractor on it, so it's a more expensive
Yep.
carpet cleaner. And that might work. And you can kind of roll the dice on that too, because you can have them come do it and then let it sit all weekend and see if the smell's better.
Yeah.
But you're probably be spending $400 or $500 to do that,
Gotcha.
or just do the carpet. I mean, it doesn't look bad. As far as I can tell, it does not look bad. But if you got the smell, you gotta get that smell out.
Yes, definitely.
And so if the cheapest way to do it would be extract, deep clean the carpets, then run an ozone machine,
Yep. Okay, so
and
carpet.
maybe you could paint at that point, or I have a feeling if you just clean it, it's still gonna smell. Or you can just go buy like car fresheners and stick them everywhere. That's
Yeah. Okay.
But in theory, based on your comp, it does. I mean, they look very similar condition. I mean, I would probably swap the fridge. They have all matching appliances on that one
Let me see.
because you had mismatched, which might not be a big deal, but
Yeah, we're a different brand, but yeah.
are theirs all stainless and you have everything stainless, one black?
Yep.
Okay, I would swap the fridge and just go to like a recycling one and swap one in. That's a cheap fridge to get.
Yeah.
So I just always try to match it exactly. And so you guys, as I'm looking at that with Jason's video, I'm going, okay, what do we have? What it doesn't have, right? That's always my thought. Like,
Yep.
and that was one thing I saw. I was like, wait, I think that had stainless and we were missing one here.
Yep. For sure.
And, I mean, that's a top bottom cheap fridge too. Those don't cost much.
Right. Right. Okay. So we probably we got to get the smell out. The most affordable way, just carpet extraction and also ozone.
Yeah. So what you could do is clean the carpets really good, then throw that ozone machine in there for 1 to 2 days over the weekend, come back on that Monday. And then I would let it air out for a minute too, because it's going to have this weird smell in it for a second.
Yep.
And then, so basically you're rolling the dice on paying for the carpet clean. You're wasting a couple days. And then if it's gone, then maybe roll with it. But if you still kind of smell it was me, I would, and that's going to affect how people think about the house for sure.
Definitely. Definitely. Okay. So I might just replace the whole thing then.
The carpet
Yeah.
might not be a bad idea.
Okay.
I don't think, I mean, doing the carpet in that build, I mean, it's going to be like a couple grand.
Yeah.
And then that's like, if it's the difference of selling it for 1 month, that's like one payment, right?
Yep.
So I would just probably do it.
Okay. Got it. Would you paint too, or do you think the paint is okay?
If it smells, I paint it.
Okay. I see.
So,
Okay. I'll relay the message from the flipping master.
but if the way to test it is just clean the carpets and throw the ozone machine in and see if it works. And if it doesn't, then go to the next step.
Yep.
So,
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
yeah, people don't like stinky houses, guys. I can tell you that much. Except for me, I like stinky houses. It's a light question day, guys. I guess we've been on for 2 hours. We got any more questions? Oh. See.
Hey James, I got one. I can't figure out how to get my hand to go up on the phone.
Oh, all good, dude. How you doing, dude?
Oh man, I can't complain. How are you?
Doing good. You getting your projects on?
Yeah, dude, I got like 6 going on right now. It's kind of crazy. But it's good. It's good. So I've got a unique situation with a house that we just closed on May 21st. We stopped the foreclosure, bought this house from this lady, old lady, she's in her 70s. She's large lady, can't really get around very well. Stopped the foreclosure. We closed on May 21st. She was not out. So I did a $10,000 holdback and gave her until May 1st. I'm sorry, we closed on April 21st. And so I gave her until May 1st to get out. And then every day after May 1st, she's losing and I'm keeping $100. So at this point, I'm up to $1,300. She's still in there. I guess technically squatting because she didn't have a lease. She doesn't have anywhere to go, so she's technically homeless. It's a hoarder house, so it's full of stuff. And I contacted the police, contacted the sheriff's department. Nobody wanted to deal with it. They made me go to magistrate court, and they essentially wanted me to file as if it was an eviction. And they said, hey, it's going to take about 4 months to get this on the docket. And I've got private money in this deal. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So my assistant's calling the coalition to end homelessness to try to help and see if we can't find her a place. The wholesaler that brought me the deal is calling apartments and trying to help her find a place. She is making an attempt. She's calling, but she makes too much money with government support for assisted living. Like it's every avenue we take, she's in there. So I don't know what to do to get her
At
out.
least communicating with you.
She
a
is for
little bit.
sure. Yeah. She.
Okay. And
It's
then one
not
question
a.
I do have.
Yeah.
What is so in Washington,
Oh.
our foreclosure rules are very, very strict. That scenario can become very hairy for us because we're honestly always the bad guys as investors. How is the laws about foreclosure? Like for Washington, we try to never let them give a delayed possession because if they say they have a right to buy it, it turns into this massive thing. And they can just say that. How's the rules like with, and then some states are like, hey, you sold it, gotta get out. What is the rules over there?
Yeah. I don't know for sure. My attorney was looking into it, and based off of what he said, she falls into a new squatter rule that was passed in West Virginia a couple years ago. But the problem is the police don't know the rule. Like technically, the law says she is squatting. She should be removed as if she's trespassing, but none of the police want to deal with it. So, but as far as like she doesn't have an avenue, the holdback doesn't give her an avenue to take back over the house or anything like that.
No, it's just a matter of like in our state, if they even say they claimed it, and
Yeah.
then it goes into a court case. It's just
Yeah.
which we have bad ones. So okay, so right now,
So here's what I'm doing. Let me know what you think about this. So she understands what's going on. I've told her, hey, this is what I have to do, and she said okay. But I went down and I sat down with her and I said, listen, I own everything in this house. Like, you understand that, right? And she said yes. And she's not going to take 99% of this stuff anyways. And I said, I have to get started. So I have guys showing up on Thursday to trash out that entire house. And I said, I will let you continue to stay here until we figure out where to go. She literally sits in a computer chair, not a recliner. And then she sleeps in a twin bed. So I'm leaving those two things, but like there's a full basement full of stuff. Every room's got stuff in it. The refrigerator doesn't work. She literally eats like donuts because it doesn't spoil if it's not kept cold. And I told her, I said, everything's getting trashed. And said she understands. So I made sure that I communicated with her because I didn't want to be like, I'm destroying this house and this lady's still technically living in it, but she's homeless. It's not her house. But like the law enforcement doesn't really want to help me get out. And I can't wait 4 months for magistrate court to decide to come remove her. So I don't know. It's a weird scenario. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
yes.
I figured.
Many times. All right, first thing is if I ever buy from a delayed holdback with a wholesaler, I actually make them hold their assignment aside too.
That's a good point.
And I go, hey, dude, look, I'm all in. I just don't want any problems. You're guaranteeing there's no problems, and let's let it sit here for a minute.
Yeah.
So
Thankfully, these guys are good friends of mine, so they are still actively involved. Like these guys are both calling apartments every day for her.
yeah.
So they haven't like vanished on me, but I'll keep that in mind for next time.
Yeah, it's just like it's fair. Like I'll
Yeah.
pay you when I deliver the property. Um, and
Okay.
I know we have that scenario. We always offer it. It's just like, hey, like, not because it just also makes the investor feel good. It's like, all right, we have the whole back, but also we're holding this much money back that will also, for some reason, if that expires, you're going to tap into our fees.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because in my opinion, and granted, a lot of people do their like, it's our responsibility to help get them out because we're negotiating that contract.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people would have a different opinion, but that's just the way we do it. So and you've contacted an eviction attorney?
Well, he's my real estate attorney.
Okay.
He's just
Because
been
you
trying to help
think,
me out.
like, what I want to know is when are we pushing too hard? Because in Washington, if we push it all, it can be not good. So, like, I would follow his advice for what you can and can't do. One thing I have done too is like, hey, lady, I'm really trying to, we helped you out. Be very nice with her, but stern,
Yeah, for sure.
because I mean, she is in a shit spot, right?
Yeah.
So, what we have done sometimes too is like, well, how about we put you up in a hotel for 7 days as you figure this out? And
Mm-hmm.
for $50 a night, we'll just put them up in a hotel or, just because I want them out so I can work on the project.
Yeah.
And once we get them out, even if it costs me a little bit of money or an eviction is going to cost me, let's say it costs $1,000 or $1,500, I'd rather just give the $1,000 to a hotel and go, hey, look, I've booked you rooms for the next 20 days. As you figure this out, will that work for you?
And then after that, if she hasn't figured it out, is it kind of like, hey, ain't my deal anymore? And
Oh yeah,
if
she's surrendering the property at that point too.
that's a great point. Because at this point, I've got $1,300 coming to me the day that she leaves, and I tell my attorney to release that. So I would have no problem taking a portion of that and paying for a hotel.
Well, it's also an opportunity cost. Like, how much does it slow your deal down? Because a lot of times we'll sit there and be like, dude, I'm like, forget the money. I just want them out and get them out, like, because I want to get the project going and just secure the deal.
Great point.
And
That
then
might
also, if you
that might
do
be
have
the
to hire an
solution.
eviction, it's going to cost you at least $500.
Exactly.
And eat up time, and then you're gonna have at least 1 month of payment in there.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so I kind of look at, okay, worst case scenario on eviction. Let's say it's going to cost me $2,500 or $3,000 with whole costs or whatever that number is. I'll at least offer half of that to get them out. If not, if I really think it's going that way, I'll offer the full amount just to get them out.
Yeah.
So,
That might be okay. I like the hotel thing. I just got to find something to where I mean, there's always handicap accessible stuff, because she can't go up and down steps. So I get her. So if hey, I'll put you in a hotel for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. Then I just kind of forget about it, right? I'm not responsible for making sure that she's got somewhere to go after that hotel. Like at that point, like you're on your own.
yeah, because at that point she's just surrendering to you.
Yeah.
Like it's an agreement, like it's a cash for keys almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can say, hey, look, I got this hotel lined up for you. I can pay you through this many days, and she's like, okay, that helps. Like, or I can just give you the money, whatever you want to do, but I at least have found this for you.
Yeah.
But at that point, she's doing like have her sign something saying we're giving you this cash. Everything is surrendered.
Well, let's say let's just say it's a week. If she's still not out, she's still got about nine, a little, just under 9 grand of that 10 grand still coming to her. So if she needs
Yep.
to extend her hotel stay, she
Yep.
at least is able to do that instead of me tapping into it $100 a day. Like, I mean, tomorrow now I'm at $1,400 of her 10 grand that I'm keeping. She could be using that on a hotel. Okay, that's what I'm going to do then. I'll
Yeah,
call
and
her
try to
tomorrow.
like, I was super soft with people.
Yeah.
Unless it's like I've been in some bad situations too, where I'm like, okay, I got to kind of match their energy a little bit, like
Yeah.
whether they're a little bit more drug addicts. And but with someone like that, you just want to be like, hey, look, I'm trying to help you out here. Sometimes it's good to let them know your pain. Be like, hey, just I got a loan too on this thing. Just like how you got in hot water with the foreclosure. Like if I don't get this thing paid off soon, I could be the next one in foreclosure type thing. Like just kind of relate
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
definitely stay on the gas with her. Just be very gentle.
Man, I think you solved my problem. I don't know why I never even thought about that. I've even had to make sure that I don't send certain guys on my crew over to do the demo because I've got some guys that are like, they think they're like my goons and they're like, we'll throw her out. I'm like, no, like guys, like that's not what I'm trying to do here. So I've been very, I mean, I went down and sat down with her yesterday and was like, listen, like here's the situation I'm in. I've got to get started. Technically this is my house, but I want to ask your permission. Are you okay if I send some guys in and start doing this work? And she said, yeah, but I'll be honest, I don't know if at some point it's a liability. Like if somebody drops something and hits her by accident, like I really want to just get her out. So I'll do the hotel route. She's going to be more comfortable than what she's living in right now. Like she literally sits in an office chair, a swivel chair all day.
Well, on that, you're going to offer to pay for some of it, and it's a net positive. Like,
Yeah.
You're still saving $50 a day by me putting you in here, and I got you covered for the first week or 2 weeks.
Yep. All right. Solid. Perfect, man. That's great. You made my night. I appreciate it.
All good. Plenty of people around.
Yeah.
And you guys, yeah, be careful on the delayed possessions, guys. Like it's here right now, someone sent me, and I was like, oh my gosh, when there's probably 35 people at this property and they all have some issues going on, that's for sure. And the deal looks really good on paper, but I'm like, dude, if I sign up for this, like you got to know your laws where it could take me 9 to 10 months to get them out of a property in Washington. And so we have to factor for that. And I'm like, dude, even though the deal looks great on paper, like if it goes the wrong way, it's just not worth it. It slows down 10 months. You know, but so I always like to, so like, yeah, Jason said 35 people. That's crazy. It is crazy. I was like, oh man, there's a lot of people in here. So what I did do is I didn't go, well, I'm not doing this. It's a good enough deal where I can go offer those people 20 grand, and now it becomes still okay deal. Like it's a deal I would buy or work with in general. It's not as good as it was on paper, but it solves my problem, right? And if I pay them 20 grand, that's a lot cheaper than going through a year-long eviction.
Yeah.
And so before I commit to it, though, I'm going to go down there and go meet those 35 people again. And I'm going to work out a deal where I'm getting possession. I'm going to have a locksmith on. I mean, 20 grand should get them out, I would think. And then they're changing those locks out. Boom, we're surrendering it. We're plywooding it, and we're boarding that thing up. Because if there's 35 guys, guess what? They will come back the next day and get right back in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm taking one more swing at it. If not, I'll move on to the next deal. But your state's a lot more forgiving than our state, essentially.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
yeah. Oh, Alicia says something like this. Put her in touch with local churches too. They might be able to help after she leaves. Yeah, whatever we can do to help, guys. That's really what Salt, like, that's why I did a lot of foreclosure deals back in the day. I was focused on helping them. And like, I mean, shoot, we did so many deals because I would line up movers for people. I put them in credit repair. If we'd find them a new rental, or if they wanted home ownership, again, we'd find them a lease option as long as they had some cash and they could go. And so we were really focused on the solution rather than the deal, and that got us a ton of deals. It made a huge difference in my career for sure. Because people, whether they're drug addicts or whatever it is, guys, they ran into hard times or have bad habits, and so try to take that approach. Yeah, the neighbor should pay me for getting them out. This is a bad one, you guys. I never seen feet like this in my life. So, Dennis, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, what's up, James? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good, dude.
I have a question I'm hoping you can help me with. I'm pursuing this off-market lead, and I honestly don't know how to price it. It's really funky. So it's a 2-bed, 1-bath. There's no basement, 800 square feet in U District, Ravenna.
Okay.
And it's zoned LR3, and it's in an ECA zone.
Okay.
The house isn't in that bad of a shape where if we could force value, we can make something out of it. To me, I think it's more like a tear down and like build like a townhouse or development or apartment sort of thing. Because to the left of it is a huge apartment complex, and to the right of it is like a huge apartment complex. And so I don't even.
And how big is the lot again?
The lot is 1,600 square feet.
How many square feet?
5,600.
Okay, so decent sized lot, so you can probably get, you probably at least get 4 units on that. Maybe squeeze a fifth because LR3 is higher density. The one thing is though, when you're looking at wholesaling any dirt, we always want to know what the builder's appetites are. And so we want to know how to structure the contract. That makes a big difference on whether you're going to get a dirt deal or not. And so
Yeah.
right now in the city of Seattle, there is almost no townhome permits being rolled out right now because the demand is really low for builders because it takes so long to get the permits. And so if you're ever looking at a townhome site and you're going to wholesale it, the deal will be a lot better for everybody if you can get a long close, like a 12-month close.
Yeah. So luckily I talked to the seller about that, and
Okay.
he owns it free and clear. And so he's open to a long close. He's open to owner financing, and he's open to closing on permits. But like,
That's huge news.
yeah.
That will make the difference because if you couldn't get that, I'd say it's worth more as a house all day
Yep.
long. The next thing we got to dig into is the ECA because ECA is like builder's nightmare. They don't like touching it. How bad is a slope are we talking?
Yeah, it's really bad. Steep slope. Like, yeah, it's bad. But
Okay, I would say it's probably worth more as a house right now.
yeah.
But the good thing is you have the right close time. You can always check, but I can tell you, me as a builder in Seattle, we won't touch slopes. And most everybody I know won't touch it right now either, because it's just such a long, painful process that it has to be so cheap that no one really wants to deal with it. Because it makes their foundation costs go way up. There's a lot more special inspections. Depending on the classification ECA, sometimes you can only put your foundation in for 3 to 4 months a year. And if you miss that window, you have to wait again.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And so it makes it really complex. But how do we evaluate that? The first thing we want to do, because that's what we always do. Every deal we're looking at, especially like Bellevue, Kirkland, Seattle, Flat, we go as a wholesaler, or if we're trying to get a deal done, what can we pay the most for? And what's highest and best use? And so the first thing we want to do is we want to comp the house and go, okay, what is this house worth if we totally renovate it? And what maximizes it that way? And you said the basement. You said
There's no basement.
there's no basement, so
It's just a
800
rambler.
square feet.
800 square feet, 2-1. Very straightforward.
So most likely on 800 square feet, you can probably figure out how to make it a 2-2, which will bring up the value. How's the condition of the house? Is it pretty old?
It's just outdated, but there was renters living in there before, and so
Okay.
it's not bad.
Okay,
It's
so
just outdated.
what we want to do is pull comps for what it is. Does it have parking?
It does have parking.
Okay, a garage or just stalls?
No garage.
Okay, so we want to find houses and look for comps from 999 square feet or below. Or 1,015 below, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then we want to go, okay, what's highest and best use? And the good thing is, you said this is in Queen Anne?
Ravenna.
Oh, Ravenna. Okay, so Ravenna.
It's like 3 blocks away from you.
Okay, so that's that. I mean, I would think that's going to be worth 700 to 800 in that range.
Yeah, I mean, just like quick look on Zillow and Redfin, it's showing like a mill on their estimate.
Yeah, because there's estimates going to pull like average price per square foot and some things in
Oh,
there.
I see. Yeah.
You know, and it could be worth. You know, it also is going to depend. Like, it's not going to factor parking, and you know, we have to look at the scope of the yard, how much yard's going to be there. My gut would say it's probably going to be in that range. You know, we can.
So it sounds like how I should approach this is just as a flip, then like no development on this. Like that wouldn't be the smartest way for me to wholesale this.
Well, first we want to go, okay, what will a flipper pay, right?
Yeah.
And you go,
I
okay,
see. Yeah.
so you know, like on that deal, let's say it's worth. Let me do this. Let me share my screen. You just want to play with the numbers, right? Because I would guess on a hillside like that, if it's that steep, you're probably gonna get the same price as a flipper, or if you're gonna get a better term and not close in 12 months.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's look at this. And so that's kind of what we do. So let's say, we got to pull the comp. So it's just 800,000. Oh, let's say it's worth, because that's about $1,000 a foot. That's pretty high. So that should kind of be on the top end for the house. And let's say it needs $80,000 in work just to make it nice, because we're selling it for that's $100 a foot for but it does need to look pretty good at 800. We'd have to look at the comp so we can move that around. But a flipper on that, let's say, because we work it backwards, right? So down payment. It's 15%. Like, we know to get a deal done, typically we can get it for around 35% is usually what we're targeting. So if I'm looking as a wholesaler, I'm going, okay, well, people, that's a little slim. Like if someone paid, 575, and obviously I haven't seen it, so we have at 80. I have to look at that comp to 800. We know an investor is going to pay roughly around 580 for that. Like it's going to be about a 30, a little bit smaller deal. So like a 39% is kind of what it would go into. So no, another way that you could look at this is if you can negotiate seller terms to where they
Yeah.
can get for money and they go, hey, look, this guy will take 15% down, rehab out of pocket, but they'll do that. Oh, that only had interest at 5%. That's not gonna work. Hold on. That would put you at a strike price. Like, so if someone's at 550, 80, and 80, you're at 48. So let's go. That's 43. So see, I'm just kind of playing with my flip calc and going, okay, what, 560, 80, and 800, they're making 38% return, 50 grand on 124. So if someone's trying to buy around a 38% return, which is a 13% cash on cash over here, right? With no leverage. That's if they're taking 12%. Now, if you can negotiate terms with the person, get it down to 5, the return goes way up, which then now the price could be sold for maybe 585 because they're just essentially paying for the assignment fee or the purchase price instead of the lender. And they're making a very, very similar, now they're paying 580 for it and getting the same return. So that would be the first option I'd look on a house.
Yeah.
The next is honestly, with wholesaling dirt, one of the best things you can do is make connections with a couple people, like builders in general, that are active buyers, and we reverse wholesale every time with our builders. If it's a flat lot, we just kind of do it ourselves, but like for townhomes, you can get a number from a builder prior and go, hey, I can get this, close on permits. Here's roughly what the townhomes are selling for in the area. And, we pull new construction comps and then we look at the average price per square foot and we go, they sell for about 700 a foot or 800 a foot. And then they'll kick us back a number and then we know what it would be on close on permits. I would say the ECA hillside is going to be very low demand on that.
Yeah.
And half the
It's
guys
pretty
won't
bad.
respond right now. And so, but that would be, as you build your wholesaling business, like shit, you can reach out to us and we'll go, hey, we can get you a dirt number and a flip number on it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then you kind of know your options at that point. It's good to educate the seller too. Like, hey, the reason you're not worth much is just because it's hillside. It costs all this time, money that goes in. It's just honestly, builders are only paying this, and I can at least get you this for your flip. I mean, what do you think you can contract it for?
I don't even he doesn't even know what price that like he wants for the property.
Okay, so have you had a broker pull you as is comps for it?
I pulled as his comps.
Okay, what number was that at?
So
Roughly.
as is, would be like 800, 700 to 800 in the area.
Seven. Ooh, that's too high.
For
That's too high.
Ravenna.
For as is? Because he's
Oh,
not going to want
I
to
get
sell
what
you
you're saying.
for
You're talking about
500.
before any renovations.
Yes, because you want to be able to show, because he doesn't know, right? And so we can guide him. So I'll show you right here. So, and this is why the call tonight was about having that broker on your team that can, for example, like when we work with wholesalers, we'll pull the as is comps and fire it over. Say, hey, look, here's our offer and here's why it's reasonable.
Mm.
And then when you go out there, especially with a seller that doesn't know, be like, hey, look, the good news is I can pay you market value for this property. And here's why. So, like, do you care if you give me the address? Or
Yeah, I'll give you the address. Another thing too is I was wondering how often, like, I've heard about novations, but I've never seen it in practice. If would that work for something like this if the development route wasn't like it didn't make sense and like he wanted a certain price point for it, but he will still get that price. We would just pay the rehab and whatever the difference is, like will be our profit. Is that how a novation would work?
yeah, novations kind of work a couple ways, essentially like an option on a property where you're securing the deal for a certain price, and then some people clean it up and just list it and take the spread. That can get a little complicated because then people are like, wait, what are you doing? Some people do it where you agree upon, like, hey, seller, we're going to do a deal together. I mean, novation is just a new fancy word. I call this a joint venture with a seller, where you're going, hey, look, here's what we have here. You're going to give me the property for 450,000, and it's going to go into our
Mm-hmm.
partnership. And when we sell this property, the first 450 goes to you. Then the second is the rehab money that we're putting in and the cost. That then gets paid back second. And we think it's going to cost 80,000 to fix it up. We're going to put up that rehab money. And from there, then you guys can do a split. It's all negotiable after that. And so what it does for the homeowner is if they really want that 550 grand, but you're like, no one can pay that, it's a way to get them to that number. But you want to have a really good agreement together on that, because the reason I don't like doing novations is because things come up in construction and sometimes people don't understand it. And I'm like, oh, wow, we got this problem. It's 5 more grand. And like, you just spent 5 grand. You told me it's gonna be 80 and we're at 88. And so I just like clean deals personally. Um, but that would be kind of how you would do that. And it just, I wouldn't even go down that road until he's just like, if you can't come to price and say, well, here's one other option we can look at doing. I want to get you to your price. And if you want to partner on this, you could give it to us at a basis and we can kind of work the numbers backwards from there.
Yeah.
And if
And
he's
I'm also
open
an
to that on the
agent.
next call, I'll show you how to work that backwards.
Yeah, I'm also an agent. So like if all that doesn't work, then I'll just go through it with a listing route and we just
That
do it on market. But yeah, this one.
I'd really like that you're exploring all options though.
Yeah.
And so, but so what I would do, what's the address on this one?
Yeah, it's 5211 22nd Ave Northeast.
So first thing we want to do is we want to give him, because like as an agent, right, or a wholesaler, what's this property, the performa fixed up, that's for the person doing the work, right?
Yep.
And so the first thing I want to do is go, okay, well, what's selling for 650 in the area or less? Because I know for me to wholesale this deal, I got to be below 580 to make any money on this. And so, which I don't think is unreasonable, but we want to go back and we need to show him, okay, what is this worth? Ooh, there we go. In the as is condition, right?
Hey James, are you still sharing the calculation sheet, or are you showing something else now?
There we go. And so you guys, when we're talking direct to sellers, we always like to present ourselves that, hey, we are coming with you with a market value offer. Unless we just can't find comps, but usually we can find a comp, right? Because, like right now, here's a property in Ravenna. It's a little weird, right? His is on a hillside. This is a little weird. This is a 3-bed, 1.25 bath, 1,000 square feet on 65th, which is a busy road. But honestly, hillside, busy road, they're kind of trade-offs. Maybe not quite the same location, but this is listed right now for $599,000. And so when we're talking about with the homeowner, we're also looking at the condition. Like if it's got, hey, this house does have granite countertops and some stainless steel appliances. It's got some vinyl windows, and we kind of go over the upgrades with them. And right now, based on this one comp, if we gave him an offer at $550,000 minus real estate commissions, that's straight market value. Now, right here, this is a great comp. 4 beds, 1 bath, 2,100 square feet. I'm guessing the basement wasn't finishable. It sold for $600,000 in the same zone. And this is a flat lot. And this is a flat lot you could develop in the back here. Right. Probably popped an ADU here. He can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm looking at this $800,000, I'm like, hey, look, if this thing is in the same condition, it's double the square footage, and it's a flat lot I can put in the back. And this person took $600,000, and it was after 6 days, so it didn't get bid up. That means, this seller here, at $600,000, they're walking with 94% because they're losing their broker commissions. That seller's walking with 564, and they've doubled the property. And so if I go give this guy an offer at $500,000, I'm paying him a lot of money because this one sold for $283 a foot,
Mm-hmm.
and you can put something in the back, and at $500 a foot, divide that by, $500,000, divide that by 800. Right. What is that? You're paying him $625 a foot. So you're paying 3 times the amount than this one just sold for. And this sold in a market when the market was better. The stock market wasn't beat up. And so that's a very reasonable offer. And so everybody could have bought that deal after 6 days, and it just didn't go. Then there's another one. Now that's close to a freeway, but he's on hillside. It's not much difference. And then you got 620. That's a townhome. But I would take these two comps and kind of set the baseline with this, because if you offer them, not that one. I do the active in this one and say, hey, look, based on a fixer house,
Yeah.
I'm not giving you an unreasonable offer here.
So you're actually like pulling the comps and you're just like showing them.
Yep. And then we walk them backwards, and then we make in project wholesale, I walk through this a lot on how we're negotiating sellers. And then as the comp, a lot of times it has a new roof or something. And I'm like, look, I will pay you what this is minus the commissions. And this is very similar houses, except for this one had new windows. So I got to take 10 grand off here. And then that's why we do so many deals with sellers, because we can go, hey, look, we're really are paying you market value, because it's worth what the as is condition is. It's not worth what the perform is. They got to put the money in if they want that.
Yeah. That's super helpful. Let me pull the comps, and then I'll have that conversation, and then see what we can get out of it.
Yeah, if you find a house that sold for 700, but it's been more updated, had new furnace, new windows, just write down like, hey, look, so 700 minus commissions, minus all the upgrades, and they got an inspection and financing, I'm giving you a cash offer. So there might be a little discount for that. And just kind of walk them through logically. That's what we like to just negotiate with logic with sellers. It's
yeah, okay.
But Yeah.
Oh, that's super
Project
helpful.
wholesale, there's a big section on me negotiating with homeowners on the walkthrough. I want you to watch that
Okay.
because I do it as I'm walking through the house going, because even if I can't find, a lot of times with a fixed up house, if I have no low comps, we'll take the fixed up house and we'll just start subtracting off the rehab amounts, right? And we'll get it that way too. And I do a very extensive study on that in Project Wholesale, like how to do that.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you, man.
I love negotiating, guys. So I'll always go down the rabbit hole on this, but all right, guys. Well, I think we are done with questions. It says if you're licensed, it may be better to do a net listing instead of novation. What do you think? Oh, yeah. So like a net listings where you're guaranteeing an amount. It really just depends on the sellers, guys. Some people are cool with it, some people aren't. I like black and white, so I'm always just kind of going for it. Like if we're meeting with a seller, hey, we can buy your house for this, we can list it for this. Um, but novations, people do them. I don't think they're doing them as much as they advertise online. But it can work. So. All right, guys. Well, I think we're done with questions, and not too bad tonight. 2 hours, 30 minutes. But all right, so you guys, I will see you guys next week. And then you guys remember what I talked about. What do you need from a broker? Put it there, write it out, and let's find the right people, you guys. That's really where it makes a difference in, wholesaling, get as is comps. Flippers, get the fixed up comps. Like the good broker can get you the right information. So, all right, guys. Well, I will see you guys next week.
Thanks, Dan.